stuck in my daydreams. Nighttime turn to daydreams. Then it walks in the journey. Lotus and 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 the journey.
Welcome everyone to episode. Oh God, I do this every good time. 647 of the Black Brain Trust. This is the Sapio-Males Guide to the Galaxy. Doing a little bit of late night listening. I'll talk a little bit about what we're maybe going to try to do with this live stream tonight, depending on who shows up. Just rock out for a quick second. Yo, this is strictly for the headstrong, you guys. I don't know if, hopefully you guys are hearing what's in the background, but this is strictly for the headstrong, y'all. You know me, I always gotta have to kind of set the tone, you know? Oh God, monstrous. What? Come on, man, Thundercat. I mean, free jazz all up in your ear hole, man. Jesus Christ. That was legit like a... I was going to watch my mouth, man. I was going to say, dude, that was just literally like a 2-minute orgasm. All right. All right, y'all. Yeah, y'all know how I do, man. I like to do the music thing. All right, so okay, so when I would do the late night listening stuff, it was really just me kind of like fishing for sounds and just trying to like play stuff and then just have like conversations and stuff, like, but while we're talking, I'm usually just kind of like digging for like songs and shit, right? And I'll just play them and stuff. So that's kind of what I was thinking of doing with this. So we'll do that. But then I also thought, well, why not also make it like a open chat or like a Q&A? So say, for example, and this is what gave me the thought to do this. What up, New? What's going on, JBA, Soro Badai? Welcome, y'all. NBA fan, what's going on? So what gave me the idea to kind of like do that was, I got hit with a text this morning, and I mean, y'all know the dude, man. He's the cat we had on the live stream a couple Saturdays ago, and so did a live stream called "Do Women Like Smart Men?" Right? And so I kind of I saw it. I clicked the link on my text message, right, and then I pulled it up, and then I saw the title of it, and I saw who it was, and I was listening to the shit, right, and then I was just like, well, why don't they just ask? Why don't women just ask some smart men? Shit, I mean, we can nip that in the bud, right? So I was like, well, fuck it, make it like an open chat or a Q&A or something, where I guess women, if they're out there and they can ask actual smart men. Like, they actually interface with some, you know what I mean? So instead of like, I mean, because it's weird to like pose the question that way, and it implies that you're not smart. You guys follow where I'm going with this? It's very odd. It is extremely odd, and I was just like, oh, dude. I was like, the mind. So, yeah, that name. So that was kind of what my thought was, going with this right here. I figured, why the heck not, make it a conversation, open it up, QA, chop it up, whatever. But I don't know, that was just kind of strange, and I was just like, well, why not just like converse with smart dudes and figure it out from there? It's like, to have a dude ask the question, that would imply that he's not. Fuck. I mean, just make this hard. Make this hard for all parties involved. Yeah, think about that, New. It's like, that's kind of weird, but all right, I suppose. That's what I'm just like, it's a head scratcher, man. Like, how people like approach shit, especially in social media. I'm almost gonna have to start really like just do more like maybe like a social media observation analysis, like how people, like how they utilize and employ intelligence in the social media space. That really needs to be discussed, man, because sometimes it's like you just wonder, man. You really do. you wonder. You guys let me know. I'm using my different headphones. Is the music too loud? Dylan's Job's birthday is coming up. Do you have a special stream for it? Yeah, I do actually. Yeah, JBA, I actually do, because when we did the MF Doom live stream, somebody wanted me to like talk about Dilla, and the whole thought was that we would do one for Dilla on his birthday. You said no, the music's not too loud, so it's cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're gonna do a Jay Dilla live stream. Maybe we can do with Jay Dilla and New Jarvis. I mean, I guess we could do both. Jay Dilla kind of needs his own, but we'll figure it out. But I was planning to do a Jay Dilla one. Yep, for sure. Slightly, but not over the top. No, that's cool, man. Thanks for letting me know. I need to adjust it just a little bit, because it was sounding slightly loud in my ear anyway. There, that should be cool right there. All right, cool. So yeah, we'll do it. We'll do a Dilla joint. They have the same birthday. Yeah, you know what, man? Maybe we will, man. Maybe we'll do both. Yeah, maybe we'll do both. Tomorrow I got a homie I'm gonna reach out to. I'm gonna see if I don't. I'm gonna line it up first before I say too much. I'm gonna line it up. So yeah, and then what we got? I think we're gonna do a car talk tomorrow. Lionel wasn't able to do the whatchamacallit today because he got tied up with some other stuff, so he wasn't able to do the fellowship live stream today. So he'll circle back around next week on that one. So yeah, we'll have stuff cracking for the weekend as well as my big brother Nagone would say, as well. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. I'm thinking that maybe this content, you know, the whole sapiosexualism thing is, I don't know, is it sparking conversation in other circles, in other spheres within this sphere, which is in a greater sphere, which is in the YouTube sphere? Is that what's going on? Just curious. And then I also heard like a cat talking. It is really. Yeah, I heard a cat talking about like, oh wait, you know what? Let me pull it up while I'm actually mentioning it, and I'll post it. Hold on. For those that don't know, because we do this. Hold on, let me grab it for you. For those of you who are wondering who this is Gingy Brown and Vinia Mojica. If you don't know who she is, if you listen to a lot of the early Native Tongues stuff like De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, I want to even say Jungle Brothers too. She was singing on all that stuff. That was her. So she's always just kind of been around, man, and she's dope. I like her. But she's always been. She did a dope album with Geology, that producer Geology. They did like some dope shit together back in like 2005, I think it was. Okay, and I'm still looking for it. Hold on. Where you at, though? Oh shit, dude! Really? Where is it? Ah, there we go. Found it. Here we go. I mean, this is just for like record keeping reasons right here, man. Because, you know, man, brothers be putting in work, and then it's just like people don't be knowing like what time it is. So it's like you'll be having to remind fools. And I mean, this joint only got like 109 views, but it's cool. I mean, it's there. Hold up. And boom. Let me see if that pops up there. Yeah, there you go. Oh, wait a minute. That's not where you go. Hold on. That was, wait, hold on. Ah, crap. Hold on 1 second. I put the wrong link in there. Doi. Hold on 1 second here. Let me get it right. So we're going to remove that one. And then we're going to do this. We're going to try this again. Get it together, Ulysses. I told you, dude, like, I suck at streaming, dude. Like, anything regarding streaming or doing something, like hosting a live stream or something, I suck at it. Getting shit all wrong. All right, give me a second. I just want to do this, and then we'll get it cracking. I just derped. Okay, we're gonna try this again. Boom. You see there? Look at that. The second episode I did on the Sapio-Males Guide to the Galaxy was about Stoicism. Okay? The second one, it was about Stoicism. Dude. It's about promotions. It says, if you ain't came through a big YouTuber, nah, don't care. I mean, I don't even understand what that means, new. I gotta be real with you, bro. I don't even know what that type of stuff means. You know, I mean, I'm just kind of looking at like what it is that people choose to like engage like their time and interest in, right? What they choose to consume in the conversations that they have. I don't really like, as far as like who you came through and all. That's something, dude. I don't even subscribe to that. I'm not even sure what all that means. Like how, like, well, at least like what kind of relevance it has to like what I do. Right. I'm looking more along the lines of like interests. Right. Interests. Like what speaks to people in terms of like content. Like that's kind of what I'm with. Like who you came in, how you got in, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to figure out why it would be significant. Right? I'm trying to figure out why that would be significant, why that would matter. Right? You know, but then, you know, it's more probably just like celebrity status and idolization, and that's the reason why it has more to do with who is affiliated with who and who's big, and it doesn't, dude, nothing that what I do doesn't even like, yeah, that's, I don't know. Black people are immature. How about we just say that? let's just do that. Let's just do that one right there. It's a lot of immature shit, like high school shit, like what, Cool Kids Club or something? I don't know. I mean, and I guess like the cool, and in my view, whoever the cool kids are ain't even cool. That's the crazy part. We need Dilla Nujabes Day stream. Damn, you're the second person, Blaze. What are you telling me? You're telling me I need to do a Dilla Nujabes stream. Okay. All right. The people have spoken. Dilla Nujabes, we're doing it. On Sunday? All right. Don't yell at me. Don't yell at me. Y'all know about some Fat John though. All right, man. Well, you should know about Fat John because Fat John and Nujabes produced together on the whatchamacallit, Samurai Champloo series. Yeah, Sunday's their birthday. Yep. All right, man. Y'all spoken, man. Dilla Nujabes Sunday stream. We're doing it. It's also whatchamacallit. Let me see here. Hold on. I think it's Yep. Okay. All right, man. Sunday it is. So yeah, man. I think it's pretty interesting. The lo-fi pioneers. Oh, I mean, you know what, man? I guess, dude. I guess. You know what? What I've had to do is, as like the dude who's doing music, DJing, and doing all that shit. I guess what I've had to do is just I've had to accept that people are gonna call things what they're gonna call them, right? Like what you guys call lo-fi, we used to call boom bap, right? But then I'm like, okay, lo-fi, boom, same shit, right? That's why I don't care anymore. But before, when I started hearing lo-fi, 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 and then I would listen to it, I'm just like, what? This just sounds like some beats. It just sounds like some loops. We call them like loops or like, but it don't matter. Same shit. No, it doesn't matter. Does not matter. Let's see. Yeah. So, the reason why I was just kind of I wanted to kind of touch on that before I dropped the link, I wanted to touch on that though, was because I am kind of curious, man, as to like where the conversations are going, right, in that subject matter area, right? Because here's what we've been doing, and this is very intentional. So like if you go to like if you go to the YouTube search, right, and if you just type in like sapiosexualism, you'll probably get a lot of shit that comes from either my channel or the Brain Trust, right? So we're kind of owning that a little bit, and so we're just kind of just sticking to it, right? Because it's kind of embedded in sort of like the Manosphere 3.0 paradigm, right, and the fourth industrial sort of cultural makeup, right? It's embedded in it, right? So there's not going to be any sort of separation of this topic from anything else that we talk about, right? It's all kind of interwoven, right? But we did notice there was a bit of a void, right? So it was like, all right, well, let's just push this topic, let's push it, and we'll push it based on how we know to push it, right? So that's kind of why it's interesting that certain things will come up, and then I'll be like, hey, did a live stream on that, or then another term or word will come up. Okay, this is a little loud in my ear. What y'all know about some Dabri? Yeah, and I'll be like, I'll hear like a term or something, and then I'll be like, you know what, I did a live stream on that. And then it'll be something else, and like, you know what, I did a live stream on that. So I'm always kind of curious as to whether, if it's something that was covered in this series that maybe caught somebody's ear or what. I don't know. I can't make heads or tails of it, but I am just noticing that two women like smart men. I went in and I put like a bunch of weird like rhetorical questions. I was like, do smart men like dumb women who don't like smart men? What was the other one I said? It was like, and then I made a statement. I made a definitive. I said, dumb women don't like smart men. So to ask the question is to answer it. It's like, well, do women like smart men? Dumb ones don't. This shit answers itself. Oh my god! All right, let me shut up, dude. All right. Let me do this. So, what was I trying to keep up next? I thought I had it. Yo. Okay, here it is. Yo. All right, here we go. This is what I had. This is what I had right here. Oh well. Well. There we go. And boom. He says, yes, they've taken low fidelity out of context. Yes, they have, man. I mean, it's just all it is just low modulated beats, man. It's not it doesn't have that clean sound. That's all it is, dude. It just doesn't have the clean sound. It's just a sound aesthetic. But it's also the loops. It's also sort of like it's like loops that are like off metronome, right? So it's a lot of like pocket type beats, like kind of like the shit you're hearing in the back a little bit, where the kit falls in the pocket, as we say, right? It's not like perfectly timed beats, but it's like rough loops and shit like that. You know, um, you know. So yeah, I mean that's all lo-fi is, dude. It's just loops. That's all it is. Hey, what's going on, sir? Obadiah?
What's going on, man?
Not much.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on. It's a gritty off kilter. Blaze. I don't know. I tend to think that when I hear lo-fi, I always hear like, I always what I get in my head is chilled cow. Okay, like when I hear like Doc Him and all that kind of shit, I get more like electronic. I don't really get lo-fi. Yes, babe. Huh? Anyway.
I
Sorry
was
about that. No,
listening
I was
to.
talking to my daughter here.
Uh,
Uh no, but like yeah, the shit like Doc Him and that type of stuff. That's more like electronic. Like even the shit that we do. I'll have to pull some up. I'll play some of our shit off my label. It's not. I wouldn't even say it's lo-fi. It's not lo-fi at all because actually our sound is way different. It's not even lo-fi at all, but it's electronic, and that's what I categorize most of this shit. I don't really call it lo-fi really, but I don't know. Like I said, teach his own, man. I don't really split hairs on it.
yeah, I just came from a panel. What's her name? Melody. It's her first time live streaming. She's live streaming right now, and I told her congratulations. I mean, hope for your success, and
Uh,
just stay focused. You know, the one to be that does the donations, Cash App.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah,
found
yeah.
it interesting that she made a live stream. They pressed her to do it, and then I think Ganger said like she's going to do a live stream. I said, really? Let me hop over there. And then I saw myself, all her followers from Game Changer, right? And then Wacky came in later, and knew, and I said, uh oh, they got
Oh,
competition. Yeah, but I'm laughing at what you say about the social media stuff. It's what we're seeing now is people's interests are kind of different. But when you mention about the Sapio search, I said I'm not surprised. If I type it up, I do see probably yours or Black Brain Trust. I mean, y'all probably the only ones go in depth with the
yeah, yeah. I mean,
topic.
so
Yeah, yeah, it's
yeah,
an
no,
in
that
depth topic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to it, and that's the reason why oftentimes when
And I can
I'll,
tell you another thing too. In Google, if you type in
okay.
sapiosexual, they got like a list of, I would say, articles, topics on it, or blogs about it. They're old, and then some of them are new now. I don't know if that's common.
No, it's not. It's not really. It's not a. It's not really. It's not a subject matter that's like talked about a lot. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah, and I've
Right.
noticed
So,
that too. Yeah, I've noticed that in the Google search. I say, wow, it's been
well, I
around
mean,
for a minute.
yeah. I mean, it is right. But then there's, if you, I would say this right. There is it becomes more of a personal like learning thing. I mean, you can Google this shit all day long,
Mhm.
right? I mean, the reason why you're not going to find like just a whole myriad of things about it because it's, I mean, what's there to, unless you can really contextualize it and convey it because you are it, What is there really to look up and read with
Yeah.
regards to like people that are attracted to smart people? It's not something that is like extensive, because in my head that's like common sense, right? So
Yeah, it is. It is.
who extensively researches like things that are like sort of common sense?
Yeah, it is common sense, but when I research it, I'm like, oh, so it's that. I was like, damn, I didn't know that. And then it
Well,
goes in depth how it was founded, and I'm like, wow, so it's
well,
been there a minute. But I know
well,
people don't talk about it as much, so
no,
I don't
all it
hear.
is well, because again, like um, the reason why people don't talk about it as much because there's not a lot of people that are it.
Yeah.
That's like let's start there. I
Yeah.
mean, that's why I'm like, no, dude, let's do the more kind of common sense thing. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
people that are it. They don't profess to be it.
Yeah.
Their how they live their life isn't reflective of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so the results of how they approach uh dealing with other people in terms of relationships and love life and stuff like that, it's not based on anything that's dealing with the mind.
Mhm.
So they don't, what are they going to talk about? What are any of these
Yeah.
people going to talk? The only thing that they talk about is how sapiosexualism is a bunch of bullshit.
And to me, it's not. It's just if you learn about it, or if you have the trace, they have one on the trace. And I said, oh, okay, and then it makes sense, it's common sense. And I kind of stopped reading it for a while on Google, like all the search. I said, wow, the answer's right in front of me. I said, okay, so that's what that
No,
is, and
I
that
mean,
makes
well,
sense.
what I
It
do,
makes sense to me. It makes sense to me now. So
well, no, what I do is I try to contextualize it,
hmm
right?
Same here.
Because there's see, like I said, I didn't look to, it was a term that my wife brought to my attention. She's the one who brought this all, things like Briggs Meyer and six
Oh, okay,
like
interesting.
sigma male, which is what she knows all these terms because she was in education.
Yeah, I
So
figured that. I
she
figured as much.
she knew all, like, so when we would be talking, she would use these terms with me, and I'd be like, what's that? And then she would tell me. So that was how you know, and her and I used to talk a lot about this type of shit. So this is how I'm able to really kind of contextualize it the way I do, where I can take like a simple word, right, that has a
Yeah.
definition, and then contextualize it, and well, the word obviously would relate to something that, okay, so like infatuation, I'll bring that one up. I just did that
hmm
one like last week or
hmm
something.
Yeah, I was in that stream. Yeah,
Infatuation is something that people experience. It's something that they experience in relation to other people. Okay,
exactly.
but a lot of people don't quite understand what it might be when they're experiencing it oftentimes. Okay,
hmm
so if you're more in your mental space about your emotions and your feelings, how you deal with other people, especially with regards to romantic interests and relationships and shit like that, then it's always good to be able to better assess what it is you are actually experiencing and feeling based on what you know about yourself. That's why it's takes intellect at that stage of the game,
Yeah.
right? Takes intellect at that stage of the game. So what I choose to do is to give it context based on like words,
Mm.
right? So like I know a dude like me, like I'm pretty well. Let's just say like this: when people run into me, like at the grocery store, for example, oftentimes they'll think I'm pissed off, right?
Yeah,
Because
I
I'll have
get that
like
a
a look.
lot. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll have a look on my face, but
I have a stoic
I'm
look myself. Yeah,
okay,
I'm
yeah,
saying
but
here.
it's you're not. I'm not angry or nothing. I'm just thinking, right?
Mm.
But that's a mark of stoicism, right? Where you're kind of like you're emotive, if you will, like, so that you don't really show an emotion, so
Yeah,
people don't know how to read what they see.
yeah.
Okay, but that's always a good place to be in.
hmm
That's always a good place to be in, because then people will always approach you with caution. And if you're a man moving in the world, you might want people to do that,
Yeah.
because I wouldn't want you to roll up on me thinking that you just rolled up on a punk because you might get laid down, right?
Yeah, same
So,
here.
right, if you see me and you like, damn, this dude look pissed. Okay, well, that's not a bad thing for you to perceive, but it's not true, right? But it'll make
Right.
anyone who perceives that think twice of doing some dumb shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? See, so that was the second live stream I did.
Yeah.
It was the second one. I mean, see, another thing, people think sapiosexualism is about sex. It's just that you're just attracted to smart people. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Like it's way, there's way more context to it than just making it something as simple as like, oh, you like someone who reads J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit or some stupid shit. So, you know.
Yeah. I get that a lot from family members and people in the store, even in the workplace. I used to work as a barista, and I told them, no, that's just who I am as my personality, even since I was born. And I'll tell you a quick story. Even though I was born C-section, a nurse told my mom, like, I was born on the day of May. You know, I was supposed to be born on April, right? Like an Aries, like my father, and that didn't work out. I was so damn stubborn. But I'll tell you this, I didn't take no shit from nobody, you know, and she knew personality wise as when I was born. I told my mom this, and my mom didn't believe it at the time, but the man I am today, I still had that same attitude. It's just that no nonsense type, you know, even killed type person. You know, I have that stoic look automatic, even though I'm like 6'5" or whatever. I have that mindset. You know, everybody else is probably like 7 feet taller than me or shorter. You know, I treat everybody the same. I have that what you call the odd man out mentality. You know, I don't bother nobody if you mess with me or whatever. But if we start an intellectual conversation, I just, you know, start talking. That's how I work. I'm very like introverted when I was real young, but when I started playing sports, I became more extroverted because I had an interest in it. But over time, I became ambivert later on after high school, and I've noticed that too. And then I have some of the
Hey, what's going on, Gab? Peace, brother. Welcome. Gab just came through. There's another one I'm posting right here. I'm just kind of digging through, and I'm just kind of posting prior ones that I did on my channel that are dealing with other.
And I think I have some of the traits of it too. You know, because I was reading, I said, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. But then I realized, I said, I am that type of person. And when I look back at my life, I say, yeah, I think I am one myself. I had to come to grips with it now. Coming on these panels, I said, yeah, I have that same mindset too. Even though I didn't go no 4-year school, but then the relationship with your former wife, you know, your ex-wife, rest in peace. But she gave you all that. Now I say, damn, how she know all this stuff? Sigma, you know, that's like a Sigma mindset. I used to be like that in the workplace. I said, I used to have that mentality.
Well, no,
like, wow.
She just knew it because she had to profile children and understand like what kind of deficiencies they may be dealing with or what their personality types are. So, you know, these are things that they basically translate over to, you know, your adult life. You can also determine. It was just like when that chick came up and she basically told Platinum that she was an INFJ, right? So that's a Briggs-Meyer designation, right? I don't remember which one my wife said I was. I don't remember. There's like I forgot how many, 16 or something like that, different ones. I don't remember which one.
Yeah.
But you know.
Peace, Ryle. He said something to the panel.
Oh, okay. Hey, what's going on, Ryle? I didn't notice you. I was looking down. Hey, Wacky, what's going on, Oh?
Shalom, Wacky.
What's going on? Shalom. What's going on? All right.
Yeah. So, you know, when she was, she would explain these, like, you know, different types of terminologies, and then they'd have like all these different personality archetypes and stuff like that. You know, these were like some of like psych courses that she had to take, you know, when she was in school and stuff. So she wasn't a psychologist. It was just things that were like, you know, part of
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So, you know, that's how, you know, that's how I got into being able to like kind of profile people and really kind of make a determination as to like what type of person they are. Or, you know, you get good at reading, being able to read people without actually having to like say anything, just do observation.
Like body language?
Well, well, body language.
Yeah, I'm the
You
same way.
know,
I read people's body language. Yeah,
well, it's
yeah.
just in how they talk too, like cadence, tone, the
Yeah,
type of words you use, syntax. If there's a multitude of things. There's so many cues, verbal, physical, and otherwise, that people give off just
yeah,
just basically acting and being, right?
yeah.
Like you just look at somebody doing something mundane and normal, but let's just say if their shoulders are slumped over, then it tells
Hmm.
you that they may be in like a depressed state or sad or something like that,
Exactly.
right? You know what I mean? So there's all these different things that we as humans communicate to each other, but you'll only pick it up if you're keen, if your senses are keen enough.
I'm the same way in real life. Like outside of this internet, I read people's body language when they're angry about politics or anything or family. They about to hurt someone or try to, do some violent harm. But human beings. When I was in workplace, black pill mindset. Coming into it, they have the ugliest attitudes one another. And I just sit back and watch those Barbies. I say, damn, they really like that. And then they treat the kids like shit. And I'm talking about in the South. And I'm like, wow. And that's just the real world, what you're dealing with, But this is me learning about the workplace and the corporate world. And I said, oh, God, okay. That's how they get down. And then when I look outside, it's a little different. Some people are happy. Some people are sad. Some people's in a rush. Traffic, you see people's body language, what they're doing. It's like art in a way. But in the corporate world, they just like slavery almost, just anger. It's weird though when I was working.
What you got on it, though?
Well, as of right now, I'm listening. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's I was kind of open. I was kind of angling it, like typical of my live streams, man. I don't know. People either don't show up or they won't show up until like an hour or something later, But I I kind of opened it up and I was just saying, well, I was just kind of curious about Platinum's live stream from earlier. It was like, do women like smart
New
men
say
or
he's
whatever?
May 4th. I'm May 2nd, new. All right.
What?
Yeah.
What was that?
Talk about birthdays. His birthday's May 4th. Mine's the 2nd. Yeah.
Oh. So wait, what the fuck was I saying?
Oh, you talk about the live streams.
So,
Yeah.
So the question was, do women like smart men? And I was just, and I was kind of, okay, well, the obvious answer would be, well, dumb ones don't, right? So to ask the question is to answer it, right? But then I was wondering, okay, is it something about these live streams and the subject matter that's actually sparking conversation in other places? I was just kind of curious about that.
Mm-hmm.
I say a few, but they're not talking about as much about this particular topic like Sapio. I'm starting to hear on Mr. Reset. He tries to put certain elements, how he lives his life. If he has that mind, every time he tries to switch every woman topic, he's leaning towards that. And I know they be watching, like cloud watching these streams, because Xanato said it best. They all cloud watch. They act like they don't, but they do. They're ashamed of something. I'm like, dude, if you cloud watch and learning something, why don't you be in the chat? Because I remember chats back in the day, like in these social networks or medias, like Mogul Space, whatever. I used to chat my ass off, talk to different people and strangers. They had all types of topics and stuff like that. But since YouTube got this new thing about live streams, it really exposes people who they really are. And if you meet them in person,
what new thing?
Like, the whole live stream, the concept of, YouTube, everybody's doing it, like Twitch competing with each other, social media, like the whole concept itself. And then out in the real world, they probably don't even live the stuff they live. This is what MOT touched on his channel recently on the live stream. He said, dude, if you're not able to work, you can't even compete with, it's competitive, and it's deep though, how he explained it. He said, look, if you're with me, or if you're against me, but don't try to, lie to me. But he was going hard on them game dudes. He said, look, this is not where you want to be over here. He said, I want a new audience. I said, okay. And
I mean, the game, I mean, I don't have a problem with game dudes.
Yeah, me neither. It's just,
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that he mentioned it. You know, that's his disdain. But I'm just using him as an
Yeah.
example. Like his whole channel, like he said he wants to new artists. I said, well, MLT, they have to really study politics. You know, kind of agree with what you do, but he lets people having the channels. I like how y'all run them. Y'all just like, look, here's the subject matter. Here's what we believe, but you know, we don't go crazy with the N-word stuff. I said, okay.
Yeah, I have a problem with these game dudes because I have a big problem with them because for the most part they're lying to a lot of their audience, and a lot of their audience are soaking up their lies.
Mhm.
So when you're deceiving the people and actually brainwashing people into admiring already used up vagina, overly used vagina, that's going to cause nothing but a headache and destroy your life. If you if you brainwashing people to admire that sort of quality of females and trying to sugarcoat it as if that's the ultimate goal that a man should reach, is overly
Right.
used pussy. Excuse my
Mhm.
language.
Mhm.
Then you're leading people down into a burning building. And when
I
people
don't.
lead
But
other people into a burning building, I'm going to have a problem
Mhm.
with that.
well, I mean, I don't know if it's brainwashing or programming, man. I think people they go where the information is receptive to them, right? So, I mean, I don't expect um game dudes to like come over here and then like have like productive dialogue. Like I don't
I mean,
expect it, right? You know what I mean?
I mean,
And so it's
my
like,
thing. I mean, my thing is, regardless if someone won't call it brainwash and stuff, I'll say deceive.
I
They're
don't even know if
deceiving.
how's it
It is
deceiving.
deception. It is deception. When someone is lying to somebody, that's a form of deception.
I mean,
So
we don't.
when you got these,
I try to give
when
them the
you,
benefit of the doubt, right? I try to assume, right, that the game dudes know what they're talking about, right? Because look, because you know what I don't do. You know what I don't do? Debate them or argue them. I say, okay, because look, my assumption is that if this is what you say, right, about how it is you interface with other people and get out in the world and move, and that's what you talk about all the time and you speak about it the way you do, then look, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say, okay, well, then that's what you do. Now, here's the thing. When I do this, you know what I don't expect? People to come over here and debate me and talk shit. I mean, because, I'm like,
I get
oh,
that.
yeah, you get
I
it.
get that.
Because I'm assuming what the game dudes espouse, that's how they're getting it. They get it how they live, right? So my assumption is, hey, that's how you get it. This is how I get
No,
it.
but the thing is, I see. I'm the type of person I could spot bullshit from a mile away at a snap of a finger. So,
Yeah.
and I'm assuming any person that uses even 5% of their brains
Yeah.
be able to spot bullshit when they see it. And
Mhm.
when I see these game dudes, or waste my time and hear these game dudes talk, I spot the bullshit. I spot out these lies. They're lying to you. Whenever you're trying to paint a picture to the audience and telling them that it is somehow something beautiful in order for these males to mess around with overly used vagina, okay, overly experienced females that have no sort of real substance to them. The only thing these types of females could provide is nothing but a night out, a night in the bedroom. If you're painting a picture that this is actually something great, you are deceiving people, and I'm going to have a problem with you.
What
When
if they
you're lying
want
to people
though?
and painting a false, and you're painting or creating a false narrative to people, I'm going to have a problem with that. That's just me.
But what if they want that though? That's the thing. What if they want that?
And I have a problem with that too. I'm like,
Okay,
you're
but I
still,
mean,
still
then
goddamn
yeah,
low.
I
I'm gonna
mean,
see. I'm not. See, the thing is, I don't have a power. I don't have the power to stop a person
right.
from wanting a certain thing. I don't have the power to stop a person from saying a certain thing. But I do have the power to say, you a lying motherfucker. Okay?
No, you can say
That's
that.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm saying that the people have free will, right? So, they're free to consume the content that they do, and so like it's a reality that I don't mind accepting. I mean, hell, dude, I do these, and we don't get a lot of people to listen to it, right? I mean, but see, like the shit that you're talking about, more people like it. So what do you have to say? Like, what's to say to that? They like it. I'm dude. Like I said, I assume that what it is that people choose to do, right, on a daily routine basis, they're choosing to do it because they like to do it, right? So I'm not going to argue.
No, I'm not arguing, but I do have a problem with it.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, I
people
mean,
have the right to like
we
what
can
they
talk
people
about the
have the right to
virtues
like
of
what
it.
they like, but
Yeah, we can talk about the
but likewise, people have
right.
the right to dislike what they dislike, and I don't like it. That's what I'm saying. I'm just expressing that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
dislike what these game dudes are doing. I got a problem with it. That's it.
Well, I mean, I just kind of look at it like, all right, well, um, if you kind of like intelligently sort of question their premise, they'll quickly fold, and like they typically do. And but like I said, man, people collectively don't give a shit, right? So I would say at this stage, I'm more pressed on doing this, right? I'm indifferent to it. I just find it interesting when you become indifferent to some things. You just go on about doing what you're doing. Next thing you know, what you're doing becomes talking points for other people. I'm just I find that kind of curious.
Yeah, it's a habit though in this space, but like the talking points that I've heard from 1.0, it becomes a doctrine. It's like dogma, religion. For me, I'm kind of indifferent in some ways. I don't like some of the things they do lie about. I confront them a different way, not just by yelling and screaming. I ask them like, "What's your point?" And they'd be like, "Well, this is the best way to get it." I said, "No, no, no. What's your point? Where are you trying to get? Are you trying to play me? Try glad hand. It's almost like politics to them. And I try to tell them that's not how you, live your life. But and sometimes I tell them, look, if you want to live that way, I tell them, fine. In real life, I tell them, I walk away from them like, all right, I'm not gonna do what you gonna do. But you just got to stand firm with them. And I just let them just disappear. But
Yeah,
on the internet,
well,
they'll say anything because like you're doing, like they'll say anything. I just let them rock. But in the real world, they wouldn't say that to the people that actually do it or the street dudes. They just laugh at them like these dudes are bums. They ain't living like that. It's just you can smile like what O said, bullshit my way. I'm the same way. I look at people from different angles and I try to give them a benefit of the doubt. But if they cross me one time, because since I'm a tourist, I hold a little grudges to them. I'm like, dude, you messed me up one time. Yeah, we're done. We're done, and I'm not gonna speak to you. I'm just gonna do my lane. You gonna go yours. I'm just like, all right. I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
argue
I,
with
I
you.
mean,
A lot of these people don't even see. I'm not trying to take it there, but I just have to keep it real that a lot of these content creators in the black manosphere, they don't realize if they came at me face to face with the type of disrespect they come at me on the internet, I'll straight smack them.
Yeah.
Listen. I'm not the toughest guy, but I got hands though. But I'm not taking it there. But because the thing is, a lot of these content creators really need to get their asses beat. You know what I'm saying? They really
well,
Yeah.
do. They need to
They
get
got a
their
lot of
asses
mouth
beat.
though. And,
They
all
got
this
a mouth.
mouth, all the tough talk, and they will never say that to the actual Ray Rays that I know in real life. They will split
Nah,
their wig, man.
you
Especially from the South. They have their
yeah.
heads removed. Because I come from a state that's known for, not only racism but actually violence too. And that's a cultural like that. I'll tell
Yeah,
you a secret. Yeah,
you
and
already know that. Yeah.
yeah, in the state of Tennessee, my dad told me, if you look at that flag hard enough, that's like a Confederate flag, and they trick people and they put it in a circle, right? Those colors come from that, and that's where it comes from. And if you go to the middle part of Tennessee and Red Bowling Springs and Macon County, them rednecks will split you wide open. If you say something disrespectful, no, black or white or anybody in that state, they look at you as a foreigner.
well, to bring it to
Out of
bring it
all
to
the
bring
sta-
it to bring the
out of all the
context.
other states, out of all the other states, they're not like that. But if you go to that state, they're so territorial. I try to tell BGS, look, if you go to that state, you're gonna get hurt out there, man. You can't talk all this tough talk out there, especially if it's conservative like that. I'm like, come on, man.
Well, the reality of it is that you can also pick and choose like who it is you choose to listen to on YouTube, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because the
That's
reality is that anybody can start up a channel, fire up their webcam or get their mic
all
plugged
that.
into their computer, right, and do what they do, and you have all the option in the world to go and listen to it or not, right? But people are going to do what they do. I mean, hell, they
Yeah,
stormed the
exactly,
Capitol just a
exactly.
couple weeks ago. So I mean, I don't know, so for example, um I was talking to a friend, and she gets triggered by like some of the Instagram shit and the YouTube stuff where it's the contentious gender war shit, right? And
Yeah,
then I asked her, I said, well, why do you? I was like, why do you listen to that shit? It's just a simple question. I'm like, well, why do you listen to it? And it's like, well, because, and then she has honest concerns, trying to solve cultural problems with black folks, black culture, and all this kind of stuff. And then I'm just like, well, you can kind of pick and choose how you do that, though. Like, because what I don't do is I don't go like, okay, they have all these women's channels where they just talk shit about dudes, right?
hmm.
I don't go to those channels.
Me
I
neither.
I
Me
I,
neither.
I like I don't find any pleasure in going to a channel to listen to somebody talk bad about me. Like,
Exactly.
why would I take like, that's precious time that I could use for something productive. Like, there's nothing productive with me listening to somebody talk shit about me. Like, I'm like,
Exactly.
I could be doing something better else with my time, right? See, so I never go there. I never visit any of that type of shit that I like. It's weird. It's kind of. I always
Yeah,
thought that was kind of weird how
I'll
people
tell
would
you a
go and
secret.
hold on, dude. Hold on.
yeah, yeah,
Go
but
ahead. Go ahead.
uh, the thing is that you have to realize that when it comes to this back and forth notion, when people actually choose to go on panels or they
Hmm.
actually choose to watch content where people are talking about them and then they talk back, it keeps the back and forth going. That of course is going to keep a lot of views. That's going to keep the money generated. So that's all it is, really.
Yeah, and another thing is that's a form of saturation right there. It's not, infatuation, but when you get into drama and stuff, but in real life, like I try to tell y'all, they would never do that because this is kind of like entertainment. This is kind of like something you can use or whatever. The internet is known for that. And the stuff that I've been on for years are like I ask people, why y'all watch this stuff? It's just like the guy, what's his name? I don't say Romney. I ain't gonna use the T word because he's famous in the 1.0 and his talking points. I'm like, dude's an entertainer. Just stop listening to him. He do the same thing that the opposite sex does for years. And I don't even listen to him like that in real life. I'm like, girl, you gonna get slapped to the floor. You know where I'm from. You wouldn't even last. I mean, you can do it anywhere else. I try to tell them in comments, you weren't able to do that in real life. You're just doing it for entertainment value. The shit on the other side. It's all about money. They want the money. They said, look, let's start a fake gender war. Let's keep it going. Let's
Well,
get it for like $50.
it wasn't started in social media. It's been going. I
Yeah,
mean, I
it's
guess
been going. Yeah,
no. I mean,
and
the thing is,
they kill me
I don't
saying
have
it's
any interest.
over. Like,
Well, no, I mean, look, here's the thing, right? Me personally, I could give a shit one way or the other, okay? Because we don't do it here, and this is my whole point, right? Like, my whole point is that that's for that over there, right? And I'm not concerned about it, right? That's where just I kind of get short with this type of shit because I'm like, okay, I I took we took the effort to curate a platform that was absolved of all of that shit, right? So if
exactly,
I spend all of my time, right, giving my time and energy to a platform that does not gauge in that shit, guess what? I then don't want to know about the shit that I got the hell away from. I'm away from it,
yeah, same
right?
here.
Okay, well, I mean, no, because like most people like still go back to all that shit,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
And then,
I
and then
they're
mean,
not intelligent, man. They just
I
keep
mean,
on doing
go,
it.
go,
they're gonna let them go back then. if
wait,
that's
wait,
what they
wait.
have to do, let them go back there.
No, I'm just no, but I'm saying, but wait.
Oh, we lost. Oh, damn.
Oh wait, I think he like. Okay, let me post the
Uh,
link from him again. I don't know. He dropped off on accident.
yeah, he meant to say like people, like you said about intelligence. They just
Oh
want,
wait,
they
there he
love
goes.
drama.
Wait, hold on. There he
Okay,
goes. All right,
okay.
cool. All right.
Yeah, we got him back. Go ahead. What you were saying?
Oh, you dropped off right in the middle.
Oh man, I clicked on something by accident.
Oh, that
Well,
happened to me before. Yeah.
no, what I'm saying is that if that's what a person choose to do, if the person choose to keep going back to some sort of dumb argument, that's fine. That's fine. But you have instances on here where you may enter into a panel because you like the topic of the conversation. You feel that it's constructive. So you enter into the panel and you just honestly give your opinion and you have good intent. Your intent is just to join in the conversation and add on to the discussion.
Mhm.
And when you do that, a lot of times you'll be met with disrespect anyway. That's what I'm trying to. I guess that's what I'm trying to convey.
Mhm.
And like what Sir Obadiah was saying is that these types of individuals who would initiate disrespect for no reason online, they'll never be able to do that outside in the real world. Never.
But yeah, I mean,
They know the consequences behind
yeah, well,
that.
keyboard. What do they call them? Keyboard warriors, man. That's been the
Yeah,
case. Since,
yeah, that's
well,
what
that's
they
been
are.
the case since the AOL Instant Messenger
Right.
chat room days. I mean, you've always had dudes that were, they talk tough, and well, that was
Yeah.
when in chat rooms, and then now
But
it's
Yeah.
on
so,
YouTube.
but what I'm trying to say is that it's not all the time disrespect is met when someone goes into when someone watches a content, steps into a panel where is going to be a hostile crowd based upon the type of conversation. It could be like a panel like this where you think everything is cool until
Yeah.
you make one statement that someone doesn't agree with, and
Well, I
instead of just
Exactly.
them debating the statement, they want to personally attack you.
well,
And
this
I'm
is
saying,
because
okay,
this is why. But look, man, this is the reason why. Like, I don't do a lot of panels. Well, nowadays I don't go on nobody's panel. Yeah, I'm only here nowadays. I don't go on nobody's shit. But even before, it was only but a couple people I go on. Well, I go on yours though. But there would only be a few people I would go on at, and it was for very specific reasons, right? Now, what often happens is that, well, number one, what the hell is the subject matter about, right? That's the first thing. Okay. Now, what again with these type of conversations? Well, they're pretty targeted, right? There's only going to be but a scope in which the conversation typically is going to be had if you're staying on topic. When you start digressing, okay, and then like the conversation becomes about something that wasn't about the topic, and then the something that's being talked about that's not about the topic then triggers somebody else, and then an argument ensues, but the argument ensued over something that had nothing to do with the original topic. That's what happens.
Exactly.
I hear it all the damn time, and the problem here is that people just don't stay on the fucking topic, or maybe what they should do
right.
is just kind of
Right.
talk about the topic. And guess what? If it ends up only being like an hour and 10, 15 minutes, then shut the motherfucker down. Because you know what happens? You'll digress and you'll start going off into other things. And then you may have somebody come up on a panel. Hey, well, I was coming up because I was just disagreeing with what this dude said. And then an argument ensues. And again, it has nothing to do with why you started the goddamn live stream.
Yeah.
And I see this shit all the time. See, so for me, this is I don't know, panel etiquette. What do you want to talk? What do you want to talk?
That's why what? It's funny that you brought that out, Complex, because on one of my previous panels, something like that almost ensued, and I had to step in and stop it. I said, "Okay, nah, this is over." No.
Oh, with Jerome, I was there.
Yeah, you was there. You was on the panel. Obia was on the panel. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Mhm.
So, because I knew where the conversation was going to go, so I just stopped it altogether.
It was a popular individual that we know that's making more views than Seven Granules, but she was on the panel with Jerome and he got upset, got emotional. And I'm like, dude, just chill. And we tried to this ain't no 9 hour, 10 hour panels like you see other individuals do in the space. And I'm like, wow, stick to the subject. And then the extra hours they just go overboard with. I'm like, all right, cool, chill, you niggas chill.
Yeah,
And they go crazy
I
over
had
it.
to calm that down. I was like, you know what? Conversation over, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's now. I mean, we've had those instances here. I mean, but it's not. I mean, the thing is, it's not about like whatever the hell that shit was about. Like, it would be about like politics, right? So, like,
Yeah.
if you're gonna get loud. If you're gonna get, but it's politics over. But it's people who know their shit. Okay,
Yeah.
so like I used to bump heads of BGS all the time, dude. I mean, it's whatever, man. But it's I mean, it's like what's the reasoning for it? What's the reasoning for it, right? Like we had an instance on this channel where it got heated between he and I, and he kind of flipped his lid, man, and Mike just shut the damn live stream down.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I had to apologize. I had to make an apology video. It's still up. If you type in Black Brain Trust Complex Design apology, there's a video that'll come up and it's me apologizing.
But why did you have to apologize? Because based on what I saw, you did not initiate any form of disrespect.
I challenged him, but look, I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, I did it and it was done. It was like over a year and a half ago or something like that.
Right,
so
right, okay.
Yeah,
wow.
Being the bigger person, Complex, that's what you're doing.
Yeah, it's whatever. Dude,
right.
I don't care.
That's cool. I respect that.
But I'm just saying, like, okay, if it goes to that, look what we did, right? Did apology video, kept it pushing, right? No harm, no foul, whatever. Okay, but this other stuff, it just be like live stream after live stream I've seen, then at response and look, and then what I said, dude. Oh shit, truth just dropped down. I don't.
We Killed Dragons is known as Truth. Okay.
Like the thing is, like I have no dog in the fight. I have nothing, right? Like, dude, even like with this live stream here, the topic of the subject matter is literally some shit that no one talks about, right? So we're kind of in our own island with a lot of the shit we do here, whether it's the blockchain, the crypto, the sim racing, the Sapio shit, the cannabis, the whatever, dude. We're on our own shit.
Did you say open chats is your popular videos you get on the Brain Trust? And you said this in the live stream. I kind of agree with you. That's probably y'all's most popular.
No, it is by the numbers. By the numbers, it's the most popular one because it gets it gets the most engagement.
Okay.
I mean, if I do a Black Tech Talk and I'm reading articles, usually people just kind of listening and chiming in the chat. There's no panels really.
Okay.
Right, so those are going to be the ones. People may or may not. They may or may not check for it. I don't know. But if it's an open chat, then people know it's open.
Okay.
Even though for the other shit, we always drop the link.
Yeah.
But okay. Yeah. As far as the topic is concerned, I know We Killed Dragons here. Oh, somebody has to mute up.
That's Truth.
Yeah, he's known as Truth on the panel, but in the chat, he's known as We Killed Dragons.
Okay, so somebody has to mute up because I'm hearing a lot of feedback.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Gotta do the hack.
All right.
How's it now?
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, it's good. It's perfect.
What's that hack, Complex? What'd you do?
It's a secret. I can't tell you.
It's perfect. But as far as the topic is concerned about the sapiosexual, in my personal opinion, as far as the definition of the term sapiosexual, being attracted to intelligence, being finding intelligence in someone to be attractive, I go as far as to say that if someone is not able to tap into or to stimulate you on a mental level, then there's not going to be any type of real connection. So to me, I think that in any successful relationship or marriage, the two parties, or 3 or 4 parties, if someone is polygynous, whatever, right, have to have a level of sapiosexual in them. I mean, you're not going to form any bond with your significant other, or any type of real connection with your significant other, if you're not drawn to that person mentally, and vice versa.
Exactly.
And to me, that's common sense. I'm not saying anything complex, no pun intended, but it's common sense.
No, I think people they match in terms of compatibility on like certain like levels, right? So I think some people, for example, some people don't do conversation and like news and books and shit like that, right? That sounds bad, but they don't. Okay, so I'm not gonna look at them as some sort of person that would be sapio or angled towards that, right? So usually those type of people are gonna want something a little more basic, if you will. So a lot of people, dude, they're compatible just based on sex. Like there's people that they're together because sexually they're just compatible. That has nothing to do with like the other person's mind, really. It has more to do with like their bedroom activities.
And those types of unions don't last long because there's no real there's no real quality within that union. There's nothing
but what if it's sex based?
But
what if it's sex based and the sex is really good?
It still doesn't last long.
I mean, I'm asking these questions kind of like rhetorically, right? But the thing is that I see, like, for example. I don't know
questions, but still, it doesn't last long.
Well, no, I was gonna say I don't know that. There's people that they probably been dealing with each other for quite a long time, and that's pretty much the basis of it. They don't really require much from the other person. And that's what I mean. Some people, if they're aiming for compatibility, well, compatibility on what level? They may not be looking for the mental shit with another person. And I think some people have long-lasting relationships with that type of arrangement. They're long and successful, but they don't really care to like just be all up in each other's headspace like that. Some people they have connections on different levels, and I think this is evidenced also by like the sheer amount of game niggas and PUAs and all this type of shit. None of them ever talk about mental connections. Neither do the women. But you know what's ironic? You know what's ironic? Only 5% of women self-identify as sapio. So it all actually kind of corresponds in my view.
It makes sense, don't it? Yeah.
I don't know. I tend to agree with homeboy in that ugly purple hat. I'm a Blazers fan, so I don't mess with the Lakers, man.
Wait a minute.
That's wacky, man. Come on now. He gonna tear your butt up.
Wait, whack. Hey, what did you just say, dude?
Rip City, baby. Rip City.
He's a Trailblazer fan. Yeah, okay.
I mean, I'm like, Dame Dollar, that's my dude, but
he's a hater.
You're a Laker fan too, Complex down there?
LA all day over here. Hey, Lakers and Clippers.
He's from LA. Come on, man.
But I tend to agree with him because
you can't be pulling up on when you got the purple and gold on.
You don't understand.
My father's a Lakers fan. Look, my father's a Lakers fan, so I get it all the time. And I'm not even a Lakers fan myself, but all right, Pops.
They hate the Lakers so bad in Portland that they got faded. They got faded red I hate or beat LA signs that the local newspaper gave out for free 10 years ago. People still got them in their front windows because people hate the Lakers up here. Y'all crushed us in 2000, crushed us in Game 7 in Los Angeles, made us blow up the Trailblazers, and we ain't been shit since, man. Y'all crushed us.
Hey, man.
I remember that.
I remember that series. Yeah, I remember that series.
Happens.
That can go either way, but the Lakers were a better team. That's because Kobe. I remember that.
You got Shaq and Kobe. But no, I think he's right because you know, if you've ever like, let's just say you dated two girls before or something, you got access to threesomes all you want. Over time, having threesomes, you'd be like, man, another one. Oh man, just it's so much work. I don't think a sexually based relationship, if that's like the core of it, I agree with you. I don't think it could be long lasting because there's too many other variables that come into play that are going to have to be dealt with. So if you know if you're a sapiosexual and you value intelligence, which can span a lot of different I mean, maybe you have sexual intelligence, so maybe that's one thing, right? But with communication and understanding somebody's emotions, understanding when to back away, go come closer, the ability to listen to somebody and communicate back what they said in a way so they feel heard. That all leads to to intimacy, and that's, to me, I think that tends to be the underlying thing. So if somebody doesn't feel like they have opportunity to in the relationship to be self-actualized, if they feel like you can't work, you're a housewife, well, a lot of women resent that because they want to explore life and they're not able to do that. There's just so many variables. If you could show me somebody, I can't really think of any time of anybody actually saying, all I need is a girl who's got great sex, and that's it.
I
That's
think
all
what
I
we're
need.
doing, but we want to just be careful though, because sapiosexualism basically denotes a preference for intelligence in terms of like the primary attractive measure, physically and mentally, okay, versus just having a mental connection with another person. Those two people don't necessarily have to be sapiosexuals. That's all I was doing. I was just trying to make a distinction. I'm like, well, no, some people, there's compatibility, they have a connection, they have all that, but they wouldn't call themselves sapiosexuals.
I mean,
you get what I mean?
I agree. They wouldn't call themselves sapiosexual,
right?
But in most successful, long-lasting relationships,
there's a connection.
There is a level of sapio there, even if they won't identify themselves as sapiosexuals. I'm just going by the definition.
Well, I mean, I was going to say that right there. I mean, there's the definition, and then there's what people would say or identify themselves as.
No, right? but I'm going by the definition. I'm just going by the definition, and just sitting back observing long-lasting relationships. There is some sort of mental connection, and there is some sort of attraction to another person's mind that long-lasting relationships have. It may not be maybe to a level to a person who actually identifies themselves as a sapiosexual, but it's some level of that sapio-ness, for lack of a better word, still there.
Just like my parents' relationship, almost about to be 40 years in a couple more years. There's some merit there, and I'll tell you why. Since they was married since '84, they're boomers, and that just shows you certain boomers that's married long, no matter if they're successful or not. There's something there, It's deep, but but most people don't have it because they'd rather go to what you call divorce courts. I hear all the time at other spaces, but the reason being is personality. If you don't like that person, the reason why they get divorced, I can go either way. It's the personality of that person. You just pick the wrong person. And 9 out of 10, you see, it's not just the age, it's that person's personality. And they do that because they want to throw in the towel, like in sports. Well, I quit. I don't want to do this. And here's what you're doing. You're damaging your children's mindset, and they think it's okay, but really it's not. That's why you got a lot of screwed up dudes in these spaces and other spaces, and they unleash their frustrations on other people. That's why you got a lot of messed up world. And then the internet is just like a coping mechanism. It's like it puts them in a space like they're superior, but deep down they're depressed. That's why I've noticed, when I go to these stores and they be in their heads and the phones, I say, oh my God, when I was growing up, there was no phones like this. But now it's like it's saturated, That's the whole point of what you said about the social media earlier, but that's why you don't see long lasting relationships. Everybody's occupied by, tech because we deal with it every day. So it's like, you're trapped.
Did we just, what's the live stream called? Did one social media or something? It was,
and I think I was on that panel. Yeah.
So I mean, it's like these are okay. So like these are all things that we know, right? But what we don't do is act on this knowledge, right? I mean, it's a constant, like, yeah, we do it. Watch us do it. Look at that, we're doing it. Wow, we're doing it some more. Hey, we're gonna get up tomorrow. Hey, look at me, I'm doing it again, and we're doing it. And yep, we're gonna do it tomorrow. We're gonna do this one for 4 hours. This is gonna be a 4 hour session, and we're just gonna do this. And
Should I say 9 hours?
and then next year we're gonna reset everything, and we're gonna start doing this all over again.
Let me stop. I will let that alone. Oh man.
So I mean, it's like, I don't know,
but it's a habit. I think, was it habitual? I would say, yeah. it's a habitual thing we do as humans, I guess. It's like, well,
no, I
damn
mean,
the
I would think that as humans, like, we have, because here's the thing, right? Your life doesn't suggest that that's how things actually go.
Mhm.
Okay, so here's what happens. You weren't 10 3 times.
No, you aren't. Mhm.
Right? You weren't 10 3 times, dude. You were 10 once. And then you were 11, and then you were 12. Now, with each year, were you doing the same shit?
No.
Now, because each year's different, but are you doing the same thing? Right? See,
no,
so
no.
the repetitive, the circular, that part right there, okay, well, that's all human. Okay, but nothing in the universe suggests that things literally play out the way they did in Groundhog's Day, where Bill Murray kept waking up to the same day over and over.
Exactly.
And over again.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's not how this works. So there's the progression of time, and then there's your ass standing stagnant as time progresses. And as events and things and all this other shit moves on, and plants grow and animals are birthed and all this other shit, here you are right here, same old shit.
Yeah. And you know what it is? I forget, a guy said this on the street. He used the term, this Hebrew Israelite guy named Zabai. He used the term time warping. It's just another name for nostalgia. He said a street dude, he sang back he was in 1985, but in reality, he don't know it's the 21st century, and I know a lot of family members like that, and they use the term time warping a lot. It's just another name for nostalgia, it's just another name for it. And then I'm like, wow, really? He's stuck in time. It's kind of like what you see with most conservative, I don't want to say rednecks in the South. That's how they think. They think the same way.
This isn't nostalgia. We're talking literally. No. We're talking about social dysfunction, right? That has devolved more into trying to win an argument.
I know what you're talking about.
As opposed to actually addressing said dysfunctions. So here's what we do, right? Let's say you see that there's a dysfunction, and then you come up with a fix for it. Okay, so rather than just implementing the fix, what you want to do is argue about how the dysfunction got there. Never mind that the fucking fix is sitting there. This fix is right there. It's looking right at you. It's like, hey, fix, right here. That's me. Use me. Fix the dysfunction. And then everybody's like, wait a minute, fix, we'll get to you. We're arguing right now.
But you know what humans do, right? They said, I don't want to fix it right now. I just want to,
that's what it is. And so what happens is that the fixes sit there, and they sit there for so long that people forget that there's a fix sitting there.
Yeah, it's habitual.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, and I'm like, okay, well, there's not much that I can really do for that. I mean, look, let's put it like this. Let me tell you like how I kind of perceive time and shit. Okay, so there was some shit that we were supposed to be doing this time last year, but then COVID hit. So that literally took one whole year out of our business. Now, what should I do? Should I go back to where I was last year at this time, and then just say, okay, I'm going to assume that things are going to happen the same way again, so I'm going to do the same thing and not do anything? Or do I say, okay, this is 2021. So now we know how things are. And I've had plenty of time to really kind of take a look at just sort of how things are kind of moving now. So 2021, we're going to do this, but we're going to do it this way. What's the better method?
I would say move forward is a better method.
Forward.
Yeah, adaptation. Yeah.
I tend to think in the Black community, we have a cultural trait of being overly argumentative, overly combative. It's almost it's combat as a form of entertainment. So when you see the fighting and the arguing over how we got here instead of the solutions, it's almost like a cultural custom for us to do that in a certain degree. You know, you get down on the domino table and start, yelling. It ain't just about the dominoes down. It's about me talking shit as I run up the numbers on you too. You kind of see that on these YouTube fight channels, and they say, well, let's go around and around. This is gonna be more fun than solving the problem. We solve the problem, then what are we gonna argue about? We're gonna have to find something else to argue about.
It's just habitual. That's in our nature. We do habitual shit and it's like say, look, I'm gonna do this. If you're gonna tell me about the solution, and like, oh, I don't like it. All right, I'm just gonna keep going this way. That's how they think. That's how most of us think sometimes. Humans be like, they say, fuck it, at the end. They try not to. They be like, no, I don't want a solution. I said, where is the solution? It's right in front of you. It's where? It's right here. Oh, okay. I'm gonna walk away. All right.
Some people just love the drama. That's all it is. Some people are just drawn to the drama because a lot of times the solution to problems is not that hard. The solution is very simple. A lot of times when it comes to certain problems, the solution is just to stop doing it. That's it. Just stop. It's that simple. But people love drama. So they don't want to solve nothing. And because you could tell, because when there's some sort of, especially within our people, when there is some sort of problem and our people complain about it, and then you give them the obvious solution, what's the first thing that they'll do? They'll try to shut it down.
Exactly.
And give 101 excuses as far as why you're wrong, when basic common sense will tell you that the solution that you give is the actual solution itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've heard it described too, part of that process on why people they want to focus on the problem and not the solution. And I feel like this is true because I've sensed this within myself. When you're getting ready to, you've been working at something and you can understand that your life's about to change. Like your life's going to change in a major way. And what people will do, they'll say, well, I don't want my life to change that fast right now. If I do that, man, I'm going to have a whole new worldview, a whole new lifestyle. I've been like this my whole life. I'm not ready for that change. And they sort of sabotage their own progression, their own progress in life.
Yeah.
What's going on, Rael?
And that's what they do.
What's going on, homie?
And they stay stagnated. Yeah. What's going on, Rael?
I think he's getting his mic together.
Yeah. But like you said, Truth, We Kill Dragons, it's a habit. I see it on, I ain't gonna say Rogers pounds or any other pounds I've seen, it's normal to them. We give them a basic solution. Even I'll be in the chat and I tell somebody in the chat, a brother, I'm like, look, if you have a problem with this person, why don't you just leave? He said, no, I gotta do this. I gotta do that. It's like, it's a habitual thing in our nature. It's like, most people say primal. I don't know what that is, but to me, it's just
it's not an habitual thing, and it's not in our nature because I don't have any interest in it.
Yeah, but I'm saying certain individuals they think like that. I said, why y'all think like this? I'm like, come on.
What part of this is? They got this professor out of Stanford. His name's Robert Sapolsky. You should go to his YouTube channel. He's got it's probably dry. I've showed it to people and they say, man, this has put me to sleep, man. This is crazy. It's just, he's what you call it, ornithologist, where they go out in the nature and they study animals and the wildlife. So he studied primates and different animals in the wild. He's a certified genius. And I don't say that like he's a genius. Like when you hear him, you're like, damn, no, this dude's a genius. He changed my worldview on how I look at people. And one of the ways the main way he changed my worldview and gave me a more rich understanding of human biology and how it interacts with the environment is he studied the endocrine system within primates. And what he said was that his whole premise is that our everybody's endocrine system is different, and our endocrine system, that it's what pushes out the hormones out of our glands into our bodies. And he talks about it. I mean, this is probably, I don't know, is it a 30, 40 hour lecture? He's got like 25, 30 videos or something in this. I'll put it in the chat in a second. He's got on this in his lecture series, and it's right out of his classroom at Stanford. It's great work. And basically he says that everybody's got a different endocrine system, and hormones affect us differently in a myriad of different ways. So this is how you get transgendered people and intersex people. This is actually, they were talking about in vitro or neonatal, when you're in the womb, that a hormone balance can affect you and can make you homosexual or not homosexual. And so, part of this too is just even in our day-to-day activities. So, maybe I'm a lovey-dovey guy, and my hormones get overactive when I'm in love with a woman, and then I can't let her go, and I'm attached not so much to this woman, but I'm attached to my own hormones and the addiction to my hormones and that feeling that gives me. And so, like complex design, you probably don't get attached to women in that way as another man, because everybody's different. And I think, I don't think that explains all of it, but I think that's part of it, though.
Well, I mean, it's the reason why I do the sapiosexualism lecture, because that's what I am. So it works for me. It works differently, right? And for others, I mean, there's 7 billion plus people on this planet, right? Obviously, we're not all the same, right? So I understand that humans we span the spectrum, okay. And there's similarities in terms of how it works for people, but then there's differences as well.
Exactly.
Okay? Right. So I know that for people like myself, okay, I had a close connection with my wife. I wasn't a lovey-dovey. I wasn't that type. Right. I wasn't that. But I had feelings for my wife, obviously. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, just personality wise, I'm not that type of person, right? Whereas maybe a lovey-dovey guy, I don't know. He's a lovey-dovey guy. I have no idea.
I mean, that's kind of a reductive way to say that. I said that in a reductive way, but you ever been like with a guy or something, and it's like you went to high school with a guy or something, you've known him since middle school, you haven't seen him in for a while, and you're drinking beers or something, and it's like he always does this. He's like, remember that time in high school, and you elbowed me in the mouth playing basketball, man? It was fucked up, man. And he like brings up this old negative story, and he always brings it up, and that has to do with hormones and the brain, because it's like the where your memory is stored is in your hippocampus, and then you have your which is right next to your amygdala, and so you have your emotions and your memories right next to each other in their brain. And then they, and those kind of work are intertwined with your they're part of your limbic system. So you start to feel your memories. So you say, well, why does he always trip about this? Why can't he let this go? It's because when he has this, he sees you, he has this memory, and then the memory triggers his amygdala and his emotions. And so he's literally looking at you, and you're triggering his emotions, and he just can't help himself but explain the same stupid story over and over and over that doesn't matter. And for him, go, well, why can't he just let it go? And it's like it's got a biological component there, and
that's where we tell.
And I think that's what happens here,
right? And then what we do, it's called a mental block. And usually when people say that type of shit to you over and over and over, you know what the retort is? Get over it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what?
You have to get over that. You have to get over that thing that you're talking about, right? That's an actual mental block. That's a very real thing you're talking about. But you know what? You can also remove it.
Yes.
It's like cutting bad habits. It's or creating new ones.
Yeah. It's just like I said, it's habitual in some way, and some people say it ain't nostalgic. No, some of it can be. If you have memories of the past, like I mentioned that Hebrew Israelite guy that I used to watch, he mentioned about time warp and that brain what Truth was saying. That's very true in some men. And all men don't think like that. But if you think like that, their best years is like what, high school? They have this problem. And that's what most street dudes think like that. If you really actually talk to them, their memories is go back in time in the era. And I hate to say this in my dad's generation, some of his men think the same way. And I'm like, wow, y'all really stuck in the 60s. Y'all really stuck in the time that you thought it was great, and you don't realize this is the 21st century. We're talking about tech over here, and it's sad though, But that's certain individuals, and they have this block, like you said. It gets
Well,
worse if you're stagnated. Yeah,
everybody has it. It's just a matter of what your environment is, and whatever. I mean, everybody has their own quirks.
Yeah.
But then it's also incumbent upon individuals themselves to recognize these quirks. If they impede their progress or anything like that, then you have to do like the internal work to remove them. Right. That's why I was just, I was telling the truth. I was like, well, if I don't know, I can't think of anything that like some dude from back in the day would come up to me and bring up to my attention. But let's just say if he did, I'd fucking tell him to get over it, because it's kind of like, dude, there's something like seriously off with, Truth just said it. Okay, if upon you seeing me, all of a sudden, dude, you just time warp back to like 1994, that time we were on the basketball court, dude, and I dunked it on you or some shit, like what the fuck, are you seriously, like, dude, like, you know how much shit has transpired in my life since then? Do you realize I completely forgot that fucking happened until you just brought it up just now? And you mean to tell me as soon as you saw me, that's what triggered in your head?
Yeah.
I didn't even fucking recognize you. You're like 100 pounds heavier than the last time I saw you.
That's normal. You got some people
that's
that
normal,
think
though.
like that.
That happens.
Yeah, it's like I said, that's another name for it, is what they call it, time warping for nostalgia. And that brain, like he just mentioned, it's common sense to most people, because I see it all the time. Most older black men, I'm like, dude, this is the 21st century. Even when I was in the workplace, I said, dude, this is not the 80s and 90s. I know you're part of my dad's generation. I'm like, dude, I can't talk to you if you're stuck in the past. I told him get over all the time. I just shake my head. I'm like, he doesn't realize this is 2000 such and such at the time when I was working, like 17, 18. Now it's 2021. And I bet you they still back there, and I'm laughing. I'm like, these dudes are stuck, man.
And I think, it's you want to say, man, get over this, man. This isn't bullshit, man. You ruined my mood, man. My beer's getting warm. You're crying, man. You're crying in your beer, man. Stop doing that. We're supposed to be having fun, right?
Look,
You'd say this is very petty.
I wouldn't even be there that long for them to do all that shit.
Right. But what if a guy, what if it's your friend and he's like, man, tomorrow I've got to go to court, and the dude who, molested me when I was a kid, I got to go face him, and like, then he starts crying. Then you'd be like, no, I get that. But you say, but it was 20 years ago. But you wouldn't dare say, dude, that was 20 years ago. Get over it.
No.
But
that's
see,
something.
but
That's
the thing is, you wouldn't say that because it would be insensitive. But I think what's important to understand is that it's the same underlying premise. Even though getting elbowed in the mouth playing hoop is stupid, and being a victim of sexual abuse is very traumatic and has weight. The same, it works the same way in the brain. The brain don't know the difference. It just has the memory, has the emotion, and whether it's valid or kind of stupid, it still works the same for the individual.
It does, but see that again. But the brain is a very strong thing, right? See, so there's also when I accidentally popped you in the lip when we were playing basketball, did I do it on purpose or was it an accident?
The brain doesn't know that.
No. Did I do it on purpose or was it an accident? When we were playing basketball, what did I go up? You went up for the rebound, and then
I chipped my tooth on accident.
Okay, it was on accident.
Yep,
it was on accident. This is what I'm being told. That just to understand this is an accident. Do we know what an accident is?
Yes.
The brain knows what an accident is, right? Now, does the brain
not necessarily though?
Well,
because
hold on.
Just like your subconscious doesn't, it interprets symbols different differently than your prefrontal cortex does. It's
Right,
going to
but
be a
your
little bit different.
intellect knows what an accident is. Like, for example, if you're walking down the street and you see two cars crushed together, you'll say that's a what?
Accident.
We know what an accident is. All right. And so I would fundamentally have a problem with someone who has some sort of weird hang up over an accident. Even though at the time when it took place, you do realize it was an accident. Matter of fact, I might have did it, and then it was like, oh shit, my lip. And I'm like, oh dude, my bad. Right? I even acknowledged that it was an accident. And then what, 20 years later, we're bringing it up? I mean, are our lives that uneventful where something like that is still pressing on our heads some 20? We haven't had maybe life-altering or life-changing experiences, or something that may have just completely just sort of shifted your consciousness, or just something that just may have promoted a spurt of maturation or some shit. Are we really doing this?
Yeah, absolutely. They do it all the time.
Well, no, I get
do it all the time.
I know. This is me being an objective person asking this. I mean, do you know how fucking traumatic it is to lose your wife?
No,
it's pretty fucking traumatic.
I don't know, but it sounds.
So let me just contextualize it all, right? Do you think I'm splitting hairs about any fucking thing that happened to me in high school? Given someone like the actual real shit I've actually seen in life? Like, what the fuck? Like, do people actually learn from their experiences? Do they grow from, I'm curious.
They don't.
What people take away from their goddamn experiences, the things that they go through in life. What's the takeaway from this shit?
They're just hard-headed. You know, some people just stuck and they keep on doing it. It's just like the sexual thing. Like, if you choose to have a baby with someone and they don't learn from their mistakes, they just gonna keep repeating them. You know, some people just hard-headed, man. I mean, you can tell them once, 1,000 times, I'm like, all right.
Well, no, but look at that point. Here's what I'm going to assume, right? So there's a pot of boiling water on the stove, and you go and you stick your hand in it, and you go, ouch, and then it gets all scalded and shit, right? And then the next day, right, you go in there and you have your hand wrapped in this bandage, right? But there's a pot of boiling water, and then you stick your hand in it, you go, ouch,
again.
Okay, and you do it for 2 weeks straight. Look. At a certain point, I'm going to assume you like that. I'm going to assume you like sticking your hand in boiling water. And I'm not going to question it anymore. You're the one who keeps sticking your fucking hand in boiling water. I'm just going to assume that's what you like doing. You get off on this shit.
Yeah.
So what do you tell a guy? What do you tell a guy who's?
Let me say this.
Hey, what's going on, Ryle?
Peace, complex panel in the chat.
Peace.
I think it's culture too, because I had this conversation with a friend of mine. And it took her about 3 years to really sink in the things that I was saying. And one of the things I had told her was, as a child, even though you're an adult, you know, being a child of your mother, I was like, it's not your responsibility to inherit the failures of your parents. So, but we were talking, and I was telling her that the problem that we have in our group is that we're constantly taught to learn from failures. Like, failure is the default setting. Mm-hmm. So when a Black person accomplishes something that's the opposite of failure, it's like, oh man, it's this big thing, instead of it being the norm. When excellence should be considered the norm.
Right.
So Black people subconsciously reinforcing the failure narrative. Can you learn from somebody who has failed at something? Yeah, you can. Nobody is saying you can't.
You can learn you can learn what not to do.
But the problem is that you shouldn't have to learn you shouldn't have to learn failure in terms of doing everything you need to do in life to be successful. Like, it shouldn't take failure to get you there. It's okay to study masters and learn from people who do it and do it the best, and learn from them so you can avoid many of the pitfalls that comes with that. I was saying on one panel I was on one time where how somebody like Warren Buffett, for example, I think he reads maybe like 50 books a year. Now, this dude don't have to read a book a day in his life again if he don't want to. This dude, what, $82 billion net worth. So, but the fact that he continues to read is proof that he doesn't feel like he knows everything. He feels like he can learn from someone else. You got people who broke as hell who won't read one damn book.
Mm-hmm.
they won't crack a book open to learn from people who have done it correctly. I was reading a foreword in a book his college professor wrote. I think it's called Securities Analysis, and he said, I'm paraphrasing. He said it never ceases to amaze him how he can show somebody how to get money, and if they do what he says to do, they will get the money. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And how they will absolutely have no interest in it whatsoever. And I think that is one of the fatal flaws of the manosphere. Is like you have people who think that everybody is supposed to learn from people who fail all the time.
Exactly.
And they don't want to put successful people at the forefront because they think that they're going to take more shine away from them. When the reality is like, well, you can learn from this person too, and you can shorten the distance to success as well if you emulate these types of people, you know. And I just think that I think a lot. I ain't gonna say a lot. I don't want to put that word on it, but I think that there are people who are influential enough to, and I'm not saying they're consciously doing it, who can operate in a mold like the chick named The Wig, and they'll keep people in a space as to where they're like they have all the answers to what they need. You know, one of the things that I'm constantly doing all the time is, you know, I'm constantly putting links to different sources of information because I don't want people to say, well, you told me to do this. I'm like, hey man, this is what I read. Hey, go read it for yourself. It makes sense to me. Hey, go check it out for yourself. I mean, that's what my mom taught me. My mom taught me. She said, don't ever accept anything that somebody just said. She was like, go research it for yourself. Go look it up for yourself. And I've always had that frame of mind. The problem is with a lot of these people, a lot of black people, and I don't know if you remember this complex, you might, there used to be a time where Pizza Hut you could get a free pizza for reading a book, you know?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And so that was pretty cool for somebody like me who loves to read, you know what I'm saying? But now it's like a badge of honor for a lot of these black people, you know, to not read. Because I've seen people have conversations and talk about the same thing I've seen them talk about 2 years ago. And I'm like, man, I already addressed that shit. Like, I put this over here at this point, and then their talking point is, well, you know, that's not what this space is for.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
Like, so y'all are not about evolving, so y'all just want to keep rehashing. I'm like, man,
I heard that.
It's stagnation.
Recent.
That's stagnation. And the reason they do that is because, like I said about nostalgia and time warping, it all goes together. They don't want to read nothing different. Like this topic tonight, like sapiosexuals. If they read up on it, it's basically common sense. Like, it's about intelligence of one another, and you have to learn, you know, one another if you're both intelligent. But here's the thing, what I found out. The sapio person don't want you to know as much as anything, but you know, you have to share. Can you compete with each other, you know, intellectually or whatever? But to last, you both got to coexist with each other. And what I've learned from my parents' marriage, it makes sense. They may have disagreements and arguments, but here's the thing: they had two children to raise, so they made their best what they do in their field. See, my mom was a secretary, my dad's an auditor that runs the accountants, and he has like the hardest job. Like as an auditor, he makes sure like the taxes are in. That's what he does all the time, and he reads a lot too. He's one of those people that loves to read books, and he loves jazz and everything. Every jazz player he done listened to, from Miles Davis to John Coltrane. So I grew up around that stuff. But yeah, most people don't like to read. You got a lot of people like that. It ain't just a race thing, but black people, it's been systematic. We think like that, and it's sad what you're saying, Ryle. It's common in the space. Most people just don't have good comprehension reading skills, and that's part of it. That's why I'm observing in this space, especially 2.0 in general, because they don't want to get past their shortcomings, and they're being exposed. And one thing I love about the internet, it tells on them. That algorithm, like, if you don't know how to read, it can teach you to read, but they refuse to do it because of pride issues. I'm Black Power, I'm this and that. I'm like, dude, you got to learn how to read to beat the system. You got to learn to counter different languages. And Malcolm X said it best: you got to learn their language and learn to read. It's the same thing all over again, but the thing is, you got to discipline yourself to adapt and evolve.
Right.
So that's their problem, and everything you say is very accurate.
I've never known, not adults, like guys my age, I guess, who couldn't read before. And then I've listened to live streams, and you'd have brothers on there. And one time guys were on MOT's panel, and they're like, yeah, I can't read. I struggle with reading. It was a bunch of brothers talking about that. I was just thinking to myself, like, man, I just couldn't imagine being in 2020 and struggling to read as an adult, man. That would seem frightening. It seems like it would be frightening, but I don't know. I'll give you
another example on MOT's panels. When I first subscribed him in the summer of last year, and when he talked about actual conservatism, I'm slightly conservative myself. And I agree, like he does, like the protection of all peoples, but in the redneck way, in the South way, they believe like these liberals do. They pretend they're conservative, but they believe the racist way, not giving equal protection. The problem with that is a lot of people don't read about these ideologies. And I think I made a few videos about utilitarianism and all that. That ideology is extreme. It does promote the utility of happiness, but you got certain dudes don't know nothing about it. It's just like, if you really read it, and those philosophers, that's what they believe, but it won't work in the real world, because most people are selfish. You're dealing with the minority few at the top that runs the world, and you can't practice that ideology. It's so strong because you have to give up everything. You have to deal with consequences, right and wrong, some morals. And I read up on it. I said, okay, so there's certain societies that have done that, but they don't practice the total part of it, because it's like 3 or 4 layers of it. Everything has, doctrines, but when you actually read it, you be like, say, who practices is certain few individuals. It tells you, that's what they're known for. And the recent one they had is I think he's an animal lover. I forget his name, but he's a utilitarian. And that is not popular in public speaking in politics. I'm gonna tell you why: because it's the least likely talked about. They'll talk about nihilism all day on the far left, but they'll never talk about this one because it's so strong, and you got more like that. You got all versions of it though. I've made some videos on it recently, and it's just like certain topics, like especially conservatism, like Barry Goldwater. Most of them don't know who he is. He's the founder of that style of conservatism, what you see today. But it's not really real conservatism, what we know it historically, but his is more racist. And that's why dudes like
he's a Southern Strategy guy, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, the guy like Mr. 824, he believes that, but I want to ask one panel one time, I said, dude, Barry Goldwater was a racist. He don't care about none of you Negroes, and he wants you to slaughter whatever. He hated moderates. And MOT tried to tell him, look, it's not that hard. It's common sense. Read the history, and it's basically simple. And they get upset with him, like when he challenged these fake conservatives, they get emotional on the panel, and he had to kick. I think we mentioned this on the Brain Trust, like in the open chat. He kicked KS and what's that other guy's name, the John Hendrick, on the other dude's channel, 824, and he said, "Look, You can't come
Kicking
in
them
with
off.
this BS. Yeah, he challenged on debate. Don't not no trolling, no nigga shit. He said just be proper. Come on. No glad handing, no none of that. And you know what they do? They did the same thing over and over again. It's just like what we're talking about. It's really sad that you have adult men that think like this, especially older than me. I'm in my early 30s. I'm like, man, that's sad. I mean, what is wrong with our people, man?
Well, well. The thing is, people have to look at things in perspective. Okay, so when it comes to this political debate, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm quite tired of it, and the reason why I'm tired of it is not because I think there needs to be a healthy debate on the political spectrum, no matter where you fall amongst Black America, because there needs to be um, an understanding of what people's value systems are. You know what I'm saying? Because your value systems are really pretty much going to dictate the orientation of your group.
That's what I was saying, Rob.
If you have if you have certain political orientations that are counterproductive to the group as a whole, then that needs to be talked about. Because, for example, I remember I watched when Melissa Harris Perry had her show on MSNBC, and they were talking about how to get Black men to marry more. And her response to that question, to that subject was, "Well, we need to. I think this is before LGBT marriage was allowed, put forth and legalized." She was like, "We need to let LGBT Black men marry." Like that was her answer for it. It was like, what does that have to do with straight Black men, though?
It doesn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, it's exactly. But this is my point with MOT's stance. He is a real conservative. Like most of the stuff he talks about is slightly right wing, classic conservatism. But the dudes that claim they're really liberals on the down low. They try to pretend that they're conservative. And I was trying to explain truth. That's normal when people don't know something. You have to actually read it and actually study the proper politics. He said it's all about the track record. He keeps saying it because if you don't have a track record in politics, that defeats the whole purpose of the discussion. He told that to Charles Faulkner. He told him on the Arts Channel, and it all started over Ice Cube, right? It's a 9-hour live shoot. If you see it, and here's an example, it started off good. Both of them had good points. The problem with Charles is he don't go in depth with politics in the voting. See, he said he don't vote. That pissed a lot of registered voters off. And I hope you notice that if you ever meet them in real life, they get real angry if you don't. And it's tradition, right? In any country.
Who's they? Who's they that gets upset?
I'm saying people that vote. It's just like if you support a country, they get angry at you, and that's all over the world. If you vote for politics, you have to be in the game. And I get what MOT was coming from, Charles coming from. Charles is coming from a military perspective. MOT's coming from a political economic perspective. You have to work with some people if you don't even like them. This is like I said about these terms, you got to study that shit, and they going to question you if you meet them and say, you know this, you know that, do you know what conservative values, what's your side about to offer? And he says the same thing on his channel every time. He tells them, look, you got to study this stuff because they're going to ask you these questions. Do you really believe this or you don't? Because a lot of dudes fail and they run away and they don't live up to those, expectations of being what you say like a conservative, whatnot. And those Republicans run you out of that party.
Let me cut you off because because we can go back to Obama, okay? And if we go back to Obama, nobody ever asked Black people to do all that shit. See, and that's my point. If Black people didn't ask Black people when they voted for the first Black president, they didn't ask about policy. They didn't say you had to understand.
That's what I was exactly what I was going to say. Yeah,
the same people. They didn't say you had to do all that. Only when these men started talking that they were going to be more for the Republican Party and say they were going to take their vote away from Black people to keep doing what they have been doing politically. Then it became, you have to know this and you have to know that. First of all, we have people in the space who have come to the space who are new time voters. You think of somebody that's 18 years old is going to know all the nuances when you got six. You got six. I mean, we can sit here and say what we want, man, but at the end of the day, you have people who was in their 60s and they don't even know. They don't know all the nuances.
But I'll tell you this. If you're a young registered voter, see, I voted, I think I first started voting when I was 18. That was years ago, back in 06, and I'm 32 right now. I just voted for the other side, and he was trying to tell Charles which side you voted for. And since he didn't want to admit that he voted for Trump, and that's how it all started. But I think Black Torch from the Brain Trust want to comment and ask a question about Charles, about, you know, just basic politics, like what you just said. Yeah, about the sides and all that. They both had different views, and Art said it best. We know where y'all stand. And he said, we're done with it. And then this dude, 824, you know, fantastic, interfered. And him and Torch went at it. And that's how it went. It went left pretty quick. And his the whole purpose of that debate is to get what Black people want in life, you know, which views we want. And then it turned up to the shouting match, the trolling at the end of it.
But that's what I'm
sad though, but you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not sad because these people have been affected differently by certain policies. Okay, some people had covering that it didn't affect them as much. Some people got devastated by that. So you can't. If a person is sitting here and saying like, man, they passed this welfare, boom. Oh, so this let these women do such and such and such, and they start connecting the dots. It's like, for that particular person who had to suffer in those environments where a lot of that Black male emasculation took place, you can't discount that. Like there's no.
I mean, we're not discounting.
Hold on, let me say this. I don't care how politically inclined they are. First of all, nobody has all the answers. Like nobody. I mean, if everybody had, because I know I don't. That's why I read. I read. I read because I know I don't have all the answers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if I come across something that it makes me have to come off of a certain talking point that I have, I will, and I will say that.
Yeah,
I used to do a lot on the pro Black stuff, and then I start doing a lot of reading, and I start seeing who was fronting what money going behind the scenes and this and that and that. And I realized I was like, oh man, this is a fraud. And I had to come off of that. So I know what it's like to have to come off of something. But what I'm saying is that if these black people, especially when it comes to Black men specifically, because if you want to go back and do the history from the moment Black men got the right to vote, the Democratic Party was the party that was undermining their vote until the 1960s. I mean, that's a fact.
Yeah, so we know it's a fact.
What I'm saying is that when it comes to the freedom for Black men to exercise this right, nobody has the right to say, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. You know how many women voted for Bill Clinton just because he looked good? They didn't know shit about no goddamn issues.
No, they
liked
didn't.
The charm of him. And that's the reason why Hillary chose him, because he could woo those women voters that were going to be very necessary for him to win. So what I'm saying is black people, when it comes to Black men specifically, especially Black men, you can't come out here and just because you can be right. You know what I'm saying? You can be right. But when it comes to somebody trying to demean you and trying to say you're dumb just because you're wrong on this particular point, that's a whole different type of ball game.
But what I was saying when I was saying on Art's panel, like not on Art's panel, but in the chat, and then I was listening to them debate what you just said. Now, Black Torch said it best. 60 years Republicans have known for not helping others, and both parties don't do nothing. I do agree with what you're saying. Democrats are not perfect either, but their points were different. But here's the thing. It started off good with MLT and Charles Faulkner. If you watch it, like, I think the first half of it, but they was talking about village arsonists first. Then it led up to the Ice Cube argument. And then the next argument was about, politics again. Black Torch was trying to tell him, look, and he asked him a question, what has Republican done for us for 60 years? And Fantastic liked to dance around the question because he's known to do this, because this tests his brother's knowledge, about, actual politics. Yeah, we know black men has suffered the hands of both parties. We get that. MOT was trying to say the same thing to him, but what's your other side done? But the reason he does this, he's trying to test your knowledge, because eventually we'll get it, but we don't know how it's going to turn out in this future. But the thing is, what I learned from him is like, okay, but I read all the stuff he was saying, it's basic, conservatism, and people get upset calling them leftists on that, and they don't even research the words themselves, because sometimes people make those terms, to deflect. And, but deep down to me, where I think of it is, I say there's a form of fascism in corporations and things like that. And I think Fantastic was trying to say that on the panel. I felt sorry for him because when BGS and them guys like writing come at the end, if you really look at it halfway, you'd be like, wow, okay. So I know what they was trying to do.
What are you guys talking about?
The politics of it. MOT was on the panel and he got quiet. Mike V got quiet. And it was a 9-hour live show that Art did. It was a recent one with Cicely Tyson.
It's basically talking about when it comes down to it. Like I think, first of all, I think that this environment where black men are becoming awakened enough to actually go see things for themselves is a good thing.
Yeah,
that's not bad. Period. That's good because black men need to be more curious. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good start. Yeah.
When you're having a debate, especially if you're bringing somebody into your space, your main focus can't be about trying to win the argument, because a dialogue is needed so people can see for themselves. Because it's not for the panelists to be trying to win the debate. It's for the audience.
I think Art was trying to do that.
Right. I think Art was trying to be able to take something from it so they can go and inform themselves too. Yeah. So that needs to be put in a proper perspective.
I'll tell you this.
Too many times, I feel like too many people are trying to use these spaces to reinvent themselves, and I don't like that shit. Because for me, because I've had plenty of people like, man, won't you start your channel? I'm not here for the notoriety. I'm not here for all that. I'm here to get the information out that I have had access to. I feel strongly about certain things. I'll put the information out there. Now, what a person does with that information, man, that's on them. That's their choice. They have that choice. But I don't want to see you 2-3 years later and you ain't read shit, you ain't researched anything, and you still coming talking about the same bullshit. Now, I got a problem with that.
I'll tell you this. The whole purpose of Art's Cicely Tyson thing and the Village Arsons debate were fantastic. And people ask him, Renaissance Man, say, what was his interest in the topic? Well, they heard his name in chat. He likes to cloud watch. He says this all the time. And the good thing about it is there was some interest there, because MOT and Charles debating like that, I was shocked when they debated. And I was like, wow. I mean, I've subscribed to both of them anyway, and I'm like, they have different views. Both of them were, I think he's a current cop, another one was a former cop. He's a truck driver now, and they both been in the military. And I want to see where this goes. It started off good, and it all started with that Ice Cube conversation. And Charles got, he was livid, and know how Charles give it up. And then MOT just stood his ground. Both of them stood their ground. It was a fair debate, and of course, Torch from Brooklyn had to ask Officer Charles a question, and Charles was going to answer. Of course, Fantastic one jumping in and said what knowing what he does. But the good thing about it is it turned it out good at the end of it, because I fell asleep on half of it because I was in that stream and I learned a lot what they were saying. And I think BGS came like in between that after I was about to go to sleep, and then he was asking Fantastic the same questions, and Fantastic kind of stood his ground, and it was a long debate. They was arguing, shouting, yes, but I was hearing people was getting upset in the chat. I was like, dude, they're debating about issues that need to be addressed, like you were saying. But that was the whole premise what Art was trying to do. He had to time out people like the whole stream for like 5 times, like a countdown. I started like, I was like, oh shit.
I think I heard about that live stream now, maybe from 2 or 3 different people. Is that worth going back and watching? Is it that good?
Yeah, it's worth back. It's 9 hours, but
Well,
the thing is, but you have to watch it from the beginning how it started, and the art set that up for a reason. And the reason he did it because he gets tired of people lying about conservatism and pretending to be conservatives. But the whole premise of, after the election, and MOT happened to be on that panel, him and Mike B, how they cool with art. And then I didn't realize that Fantastic came. He came out of nowhere. And he was
real quick. Let me just welcome Naima onto the panel. Hey, lady,
What's going on,
Naima? Greetings.
And I think she might have some mic issues.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's worth watching that debate because I learned a lot from their views. I said, okay, this is where they stand. Okay, I get it now. And then Fantastic showed his Charles. He's like, I know where he stands at now. Also, I get it now. And then I learned something from Charles. Like, he was very passionate about what he was believing. And him and MOT debate like that in the beginning, and it started off good. And of course, they shouted a little bit. He said, I was like, wow, I ain't never seen 2 dudes. Harley never had no, animosity for each other. But when they debate, I was like, wow. But that just shows you, you don't normally get that, because normally you see people debate, they know each other and things like that, but not the ones that know each other that very well. But, but when I saw the whole thing went down, and that just shows you Art was trying to set that up, the conversation, and that's what he wanted to do.
I was on,
that's why he's cool, though.
I was on Fantastic's panel today, and they were talking about voter fraud. I guess the Time came out with an article, and I actually had been thinking about a video, right, about how like it was just by random. He had a similar topic. That's why I hopped on. And so I literally just uploaded the video like 10 minutes ago. And it's about how conservatives subvert language. So I already kind of had that done. So, but then I went to Fantastic panel because I was like, wow, it's like right here in my face. It's like, that's what they're doing. They've been subverted by the conservative, mouthpieces. Mm-hmm. And what you see is it's like when I was listening to what's his name? What's that dude with the glasses? He's a conservative.
I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Anthony Brian Logan. He said his mom got Christmas presents from the Ku Klux Klan, and he goes, I don't have a black ideology. I don't have a black ideology. I have a conservative ideology. See, you black people, you have a black ideology. I have a conservative ideology. It's different. And, with that statement, it rings so true where a lot of conservatives, they're ideologues, liberals, progressives. It's more like what evidence-based practice. And then
are these the only things that black people can be?
Of course not. Of course
no.
not.
So it's a dog whistle.
So what else are they talking? What else are black people talking about being?
Oh, they can be any. They can be anything they want in ideology and political terms.
I'm asking specifically though, in politically. What else are we talking about?
You could be an independent. You could be, you could be progressive. You could make up your own political party. Kanye West is
but the thing is,
platform. Well, this whole entire platform is technocratic, but I'm see what. Because I'm listening. I've been kind of listening to this for like the last 10, 15 minutes, right? Yeah. And I'm a technocrat. I'm indifferent to all of it.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'll tell you this,
well, hold on, dude. Hold on. So, I guess what a person like I try to figure out, and this isn't to anyone who is, either conservative or whatever, right? Don't care. This is just my observation as a technocrat. I'm kind of like, okay, is that it? That's all? Is that all so we're arguing between one versus the other?
I would hope not.
Well, no, that's what it seems. It seems like that 9 hours, you said?
Yeah, it's pretty much. But here's the thing: it ain't just that. It's the views of conservatism. Some dudes believe they
No,
are,
I get
but
that. I get what I'm saying. I
yeah,
get
but
what you're
they're
saying.
not though.
But I get what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that okay, is that the only thing that black folks have a choice to listen to?
No,
No.
Okay, all right,
but I'm
interesting.
just saying. I'm just saying. Like, I get tired of these fake conservatives out there pretending they are, but they don't practice
Why are you
what they
listening?
do though.
Why are you listening to fake conservatives?
I don't listen to fake conservatives. I'm just saying, like, when I be on MOT's channel, he explains like the actual laws. You know, we talk about laws and policy, and anytime you mention them policy, like he always says, and they get challenged on Art's channel when I happen to be on there and subscribe to him, and I was curious why Fantastic was on there, and I tried to say, dude. When you're dealing with MOT, like if you ever be on his panels, he don't play that silly stuff like Wacky does. Like, look, you better come with facts. Kind of like BGS, they are they
Well,
really
I mean,
serious
we
about
do
that.
that
They
here.
really serious
No,
about
we
this.
do that
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
That's all we've ever done here. I mean, you're not telling me anything that
yeah.
okay. So that's the only thing. If I'm going to take you seriously, like just at all, period. If I'm going to take you seriously, then you better know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like point blank, period. Like okay, just step away from YouTube for a second, right? And I'm going to give you something as benign as racing carts. Okay. Do you know how many people contact me about a cart that they bought off of Facebook Marketplace or some other shit? And then the first thing I do is I tell them, don't ever buy some shit from someone who doesn't even know what the hell they sold you.
Exactly.
Okay. I say, you don't do that. And then I say, you know what you do is you deal with somebody who knows about this stuff. Okay. That's what you then do. Okay. So after that, after I tell them that, guess what these people will go and do? They'll go and go buy some more piece of junk from someone else because my prices were a little too high, but I already know what I'm selling you. I know what it is because that's what I race. So all the components, if you need spare parts and all that, I have it all. Okay. But don't listen to the person who knows what the fuck they're talking about. Okay. You go ahead and go against what the person who knows what they're talking about is telling you. Go ahead. And that's really that's it. And sometimes
Yeah.
people have to hold their L's because they don't want to listen to people. And
Yeah.
it might be an ego thing.
Yeah,
They
it's
don't want to
ego
listen
thing.
to somebody who might have more information than them, might know more than them. They may have to actually just sit down, shut up, or raise hands and ask questions. That might be what you have to do for the short amount of time until you get acclimated to the information. Then we can engage. But if we're not interested in doing that, then what the hell are we doing?
Yeah.
And that's
Well, I
why
can
I
tell you
asked.
what I was doing because like I said, I made a video about how conservatives think, and then I had the opportunity to go speak to them, and it's kind of like it was a learning opportunity for me because we're in the midst of a cultural shift, and you're starting to see black men have wild white supremacist talking points. White folks aren't racist. There's a lot of different things going on right now.
You know what that is? You know what that is? MOT tries to fight against that, and he actually teaches conservatism. I looked up for myself, and he's absolutely right. It is like he believes in rights and protection, but these dudes don't talk about that. See, I grew up around that in the South, and that's why I say it's sad for those brothers. And the reason I say that, you can't have those talking points like that. That's not the way forward. And it hurts you in the long run. And that Capitol incident is an example. Most countries won't allow that. If you actually practice conservatism, overseas or whatever, and, they teach you in their language, they will show you how it's done. And I rated myself, I was like, wow, this is how they, and they said, yep. And they told me in the workplace, even white folks, even Jews told me this is how they do things. But in America, deep down, they're so liberal and I don't want to say fascist, but they hide it publicly overseas because they can't practice that stuff they talking about, because they're going against one group. In the South, conservatives, they target one group. CMOT said, no, you got to believe in the Western conservative because it means equal protection of the law. You know, he still believes in the Second Amendment and all that stuff.
What are so what are these? What are? I mean, so what is okay? What I'm trying to understand here, I'm trying to get a point out of all this shit. And I'm not, it's just, no, seriously, I'm trying to understand, like, what the hell the point is. Is there some sort of black conservative agenda that I'm not familiar with?
No, it's not an agenda.
Hold on. That's what I was saying earlier. See, this is one of the Black America's biggest problems. They don't understand nuance, okay? And this is what I was saying earlier about where a particular person is in their life span. And so, for example, there are people like regardless of what Black people say, Black people have been voting Democrat for a long time. They've had plenty of Democratic presidents in office since they've been voting Democrat. They've had Congresses and House, Senate that's been fully Democratic. They had 2 years of Democrat-led White House, Democrat-led Senate, Democrat-led House when Barack Obama was in office. They, from a policy standpoint, they didn't get shit like that. Now, other groups of people, they got things. Now, when you're having these debate with conservatives, the thing that is disingenuous to me is when people say, well, what did the Republicans do? First of all, you don't support Republicans. That's another way to say, well, what about this? No, when your people got in, what did they give to you? That's where it needs to be the starting point. Because if you're going to make the argument that Black people shouldn't vote for conservatives, then you better have something on the other side saying, well, this is what we got when we voted here. Not that, oh, let's give them another chance to promise us something that they're not going to deliver. Now,
here's the thing.
Hold on, man. That's the environment in which we're at now. Because there are a lot of Black people who have a right to say, because it's their goddamn vote, they have a right to say, wait a minute, we've been going down this path for the last 50 years. We don't feel that we've been getting our just due with this vote we've been expending. So what's the alternative for us?
Well, the alternative...
Hold on. They have the right to exercise that right to put it elsewhere. Now, if the Black people can point out, because I voted for Obama the first time, so I ain't one of these.
I did too.
Okay, so hold on. So my point is, when these people who are saying that the Democratic Party is the best way for Black people to vote, then we're going to look at the track record. That makes sense. You can't, because a lot of people want to focus on Trump. Like, first of all, dude was in there for 4 years. He ain't been in there long enough to mess up no Black people. He was in there for 4 years. But we can see 50 years of LBJ and the policies that came from that. Now, Black people think that the present day construction of the Black family, Black neighborhoods is that's the way to be. Then hey, there should be no complaints from Black people who vote Democratic.
That's not the complaint. That's not the complaint I was talking about. What I was talking about is the actual policies of conservatives. And when you talk to certain conservatives, they won't mention the policies that introduce. See, white conservatives don't believe like what we do. They have a different way of looking.
Hold on, sir. See, you're doing the same thing. When you're saying that they're not mentioning the policies. They're mentioning the policies that Black people.
They don't mention the actual.
Hold on, bro. Because this is not a debate of right or wrong. This is a debate saying that individual Black men have a right to take their vote away because nobody's owed their vote. That's number one. So that's the freedom that they have under the law. So Black people need to, as a collective, get over that. Now, number two, when Black people come and say, hey, they're not coming with the policies. Okay, well, the argument was made by Trump that said, look, you've been voting for these people all this time and you ain't got nothing. He said, give me a chance. Now that's something that's real to say. To say, hey, you ain't getting none over there. You obviously you're not satisfied with what you haven't been getting. So I might be an alternative. Now, black people have a right to say, well, I don't want that alternative. Okay, cool. But you can't come back and say to black people who don't want to vote Democratic anymore, say, well, what about the policies such and such and such and such? Because you're not happy with the policies you got.
But here's the thing: I'm not saying that. See, where I look at policies, I look for things. Who I vote for, no matter which party I vote for. But the thing is, but you got some people just don't vote at all. They just like, you can't sit out and do that. I mean, you got to pick a side or something like that. And then what I've learned is people got their views. I don't tell them, look, if you want to vote for Republican, fine. I never had an issue with that. My issue is like, you got to know what you're talking about when it comes to conservatism, because what I've learned is you can't go up there and just ask them. You got to ask them what you want in freedom, because I know some dudes said, yeah, I voted for Trump. And I said, what you asked for? I was like, what's the policies to help us to, move forward, or if we get another party or something like that. But I've yet to see two parties add a third party. So I don't know if this administration is going to do it based off legislation, or we got to sit down as a collective or a small collective and say, look, this is what we want. Are we going to have rights or whatever? But feminism is hard to destroy because that's going to take our effort. But it's not. But it's not the issue what we're talking about. I'm just saying, like,
I mean, that's why I'm like, okay, like I said, as a technocrat, I'm indifferent to all that shit. If you want to know what my agenda is, what my policies and my politics are all about, go through the catalog on this channel. As a matter of fact, there was Vivian and Romeo, is a husband and wife. They're in the tech industry lobbyists, and they've been on our channel having dialogue with us, trying to put together policy initiatives to send to Trump at the time when he was the president. You see, so if you want to know like what policies, right, like as far as alignment goes, that's it. And as a technocrat, look, I put in on somebody who was going to give policy initiatives to a Republican president, and I'll happily give my inputs for somebody who's going to present it to a Democratic president. Either way, I want what I want.
Exactly.
I'm indifferent, right? See, so that's why I'm like, okay, what is the whole point of I was like, why? What? Or I guess it's necessary if you are conservative or what have you, and then you're going to have the debates. I guess my question is that what's the black conservative agenda? I mean, I'm genuinely curious because
the black conservative,
maybe it's better than the technocratic one. Hey, I'm all for
no. I'm not saying it's better either one. I'm just saying the black conservatives. You want to be.
I'm asking, is there one?
I don't think there is one, but see, it's
there's not one. Then what? If there's not one, what the fuck are they arguing about?
I mean, it's just like
no. Serious question. You don't even have a fucking agenda. What are you debating actually?
Well, I think that when people say they don't have an agenda, I think what they're really saying is that they don't really care about the talking points that a lot of these conservatives echo. Okay, so for example, in those spheres, I mean, it's been talked about for years. Less government regulation, protection of gun rights, low taxes, strong national defense, yada, yada, yada. Now, sounds pretty good. I mean, if you're a business person, if you're a business-oriented person, which I am, low taxes, a less regulated environment sounds pretty good, okay? But again, I keep saying that we have to look at this with nuance, because when you look at the other side, I heard a woman said that she didn't care if Biden bought a baby alive, she was still going to vote for him. Is that policy? No, that was straight emotion. She just wanted Trump out of there, and that's my point. Like, you
Who you
can't
talking
say
about?
this particular woman said this, but that feeling was on the other side. They wanted him out. Period. They didn't give a damn who got up in there, and they vote like that. White people vote like that for years. They'll vote. They'll get in a primary just to knock out a candidate just so they can advance. Now they might not vote for the candidate when they get in that general election, but they'll get into they'll get in just because they just don't like this particular person. I saw white women during the 2016 who said, I mean, they didn't say anything about policy. They just like, oh, I think Hillary Clinton's a liar and she can't get in there. That's it.
That's what they do. Yeah.
So we have to be clear. So we got to stop this. Oh, well, they just voting because they don't like the other side. Well, white people do that shit all the time. White people vote just like that. So that's my whole point. Like, nobody gets to dictate a person's right to vote. They can't do that. Like, that's period. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can sit here and say, well, you know, whatever the case may be, boom, 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 boom. But at the end of the day, if they're going to exercise their right to vote a certain way, they're going to do that. What I'm saying is, overall, is that people need to recognize that people are at different stages of advancing. That's why I brought up Warren Buffett, because even though this dude is close to being worth $100 billion, he's still reading. He's still evolving. And there are a lot of black men who are still just starting to read a lot. And they're starting to evolve. And you can't just be jumping on these dudes just because you're out here trying to. Because I'm going to be honest. Like, I've gotten pretty tired of this idea of coming into these spaces trying to win debates on this. I'm gonna make dudes look stupid shit.
Right.
Because that's not, to me, what the space is for. To me, as far as I'm concerned, the space should be used for men teaching. Because there's a lot of younger dudes. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the main reasons why I stopped going on certain panels, because I got tired of all the hollering, the screaming, the back and forth, and all that type of stuff. I'm trying to put information out there. I go to certain channels, and that's where I'm at, specifically for that. And that's a big difference. That's a big difference than putting out the proper information that black men, especially the last name black men, I don't care what divide you're on. You could be a Democrat if you want to. But when you see black men in spaces talking about, oh, if these dudes vote conservative, they should be hunted down and shot. I'm like, what the fuck?
I don't say stuff like that.
I've seen dudes say shit like that. I'm not gonna even say who it is. But I'm just saying, I've seen dudes in these spaces say shit.
They not know, yeah, it's common, yeah.
I'm like, come on, y'all, like, really, like, for real, that's no different than the damn KKK in the 1870s.
I know. I'm gonna tell you this: they do it on the right too, and it's sad. Like, I try to tell truth. I say, you gotta be careful saying that to certain people, because some people, you know, they're divided over it. And I know what woman you're talking about. She said something like that on RT, and she was Trump's congresswoman. Said something negative about, you know, certain politicians. I ain't gonna mention her name, but I think CNN backed her or what. I hope you ain't talking about her, but she said she was gonna run for, you know, office or something. I forget her name, starts with an M, but she was mentioned in a live stream, and it's the stuff you're saying is like, yeah, it's accurate, you know, because a lot of people have different views and they hold to them. But since we don't have a third party, you know, that's going to be the issues. But in the near future, we may, under this president, because I don't know what legislation he's going to bring.
You don't necessarily need a third party. You don't necessarily. That's why I said. Like,
I agree, Complex. I agree with that.
You don't. Do Asians need? What do they need?
They don't even vote at all.
That's not true. They vote. Their thing is that regardless, regardless.
I'm saying Chinese. My fault. Chinese. They don't.
Well,
They don't.
no. I said Asian, so that would encompass all of them. And what I'm saying is that they have their own thing going on, right? So they participate, but they have their own shit going on.
Yeah, because complex. Because first of all, and this is what I keep pushing to men in the sphere. I don't care what political divide you're on. If you're not willing to build the institutions that can protect you, all of these conversations are moot.
Thank you.
I've seen this. I've seen people talking about, oh, Akon, he's trying to build this city. Man, I've been talking about, like, man, we need to build cities for months. Now all of a sudden somebody doing it that's melanated, and people like, oh yeah, man, we need to do that. But then when I'm talking about, well, that's going to be hard, and that's going to be difficult, and that's going to be 40 doing this. I'm like, what the fuck y'all niggas? Because I was on your stream recently, and I was putting down. I put up that link for all them damn grants on there.
Yep.
I put all them damn grants up there. But see, that's what I'm saying. A lot of these dudes don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the heavy lifting. I can sit up here and debate. We can sit up here and debate political philosophies all damn day long. But at the end of the day, man, buildings got to get built. Roads got to get paid. Sewer systems got to be built, because these are practical things that humans need. Infrastructure needed. Grids need to be developed. Smart cities are popping up here left and right. And these cats want to have intellectual masturbation contests, and it's like, nah, man. Like,
you took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, that's basically what I've observed. I mean, it's amazing that they get into these ideologies, and it kind of divides people. You know,
right?
That's usually the way it does. And the sad part about it, you know, the country's in a shift. I've noticed, you know, the last election. And it was a divide in the space, and I saw it firsthand. I was like, damn, they really believe that? I was like, wow. And sometimes I don't even go on panels as much, you know, besides this one. And sometimes wackies, you know, we talk about certain things like this, but a lot of it's ego. You know, I think a lot of it's ego. What you just saw on Art's channel, that 9-hour one, is a pure example of that. And I never thought that MOT and Charles would debate like that. I'm like, wow, you know, different views, right? And that just shows you, you know, black men needs to, you know, I don't want to say they do better, but I guess Art wanted to say, no, we need discussions like this so we can move forward or build. You know, he was really adamant about that stream. I said, okay, Art, okay, I agree with you.
Do those discussions really have to be had in order to?
Yeah, because you know how we are when we have egos. Yeah, because when ego gets in the way, I mean, if egos get in the way, I'm
that's
just saying
for why they don't have to. That's the reason why, because it's fucking egos. So if
I think
egos and shit are gonna get in the way, then you know what? You may as well not have them, because you'll be more productive not having the goddamn conversations where your egos have you caught up in conflict, as opposed to just being out in the world being productive. So no, I would actually argue you may as well not have the conversations.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I've been saying, because I realized that's what was going on. I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, man, y'all just gonna be sitting here 15, 20 years later, man, talking about the same shit.
Same shit.
Yeah.
Like reset.exe, reset.
Right, and that's what I keep saying. I'm like, yo, like, a lot of these dudes, they'll sit here and talk about the women. And this is not to down any men, because, man, we're human. We have human emotions. We have human experiences that can create trauma. This is not to lessen men, but you can't sit over here and say, well, these women being emotional, and you're building an emotional wreck of a man yourself.
Yeah.
You can't you can't do that. Like, cause that's why I don't even use that when it comes to women. I don't use women are emotional, because first of all, it allows women to avoid accountability. I put ego. A lot of this shit is not women being emotional; they're being egotistical. Yeah. That's the issue, and so they need to deal with that individually. But what I'm saying is that when it comes down to these conversations, it's good that black men are getting involved politically. That's great. That's a good thing. But it's like, man, I'm telling you, I've seen these dudes, like you talk about, hey, let's do this. Well, that's not what the space is for. What? Like, what are you talking
I know
about?
exactly.
Like, you want to sit here and talk about Cardi B, what she said, the Offset. I don't want to hear no grown ass talk about no goddamn Cardi B, no fucking Offset, no silly ass motherfuckers. And that's the conversation you want to have. Like, nah, bro, I'm good on that shit. No, no, because you in the manosphere, you want to have a channel, you want to talk about that shit because you ain't worked out some shit emotionally and internally with the women that you have had problems with, especially in your own family. Now you want to keep this shit going and going and going and going and going and going. It's like, man, I have seen women say that they have taken things that people like myself have said in this space, and they've gone back to their mothers and they said, man, they had to have those tough conversations that I've been talking about. Because a lot of people do need to have those tough conversations with their family members. They need to be able to go to their mom and say, hey, mom, why you ain't married my dad? What happened? I need to know what's going on. Because I know the benefit of having the knowledge and the information of what the environment was like when my mother and father came together, because it explained my experience throughout my life. So when I was able to talk to my grandmother and say what was going on, like how mom was acting, when she was with dad and when she was pregnant with me and they were married, like what was the things going on? And so I could understand from both vantage point why each one acted a certain way. These people need to have the same type of conversations in which they can find out this information. But too many of these people are scary. They're cowards. They don't want to go to the people in their family that they need to have tough conversations with, because you might have to go to have some conversations with a mother and a father, and they can tell you that they will never help your black ass, and you're going to have to figure this shit out by your damn self.
Exactly.
And a lot of people ain't prepared to walk that path. I've been walking that path a long time.
Well, I would say,
and I had to have those tough conversations with parents like that. So what I'm saying is, a lot of these people, instead of having those conversations, they want to come into these spaces under the guise, we gotta let black men know what about the gynocracy. But the reality is, they're trying to keep black men triggered and not growing up and evolving into the men that they can be. I have seen many black men in these spaces that are quite capable.
That's their mentality the whole time. And like I said earlier about nostalgia, you just gotta leave them there. And what I've observed in art space like that now, that's the same thing. You got some guys that made it, like MOT as a businessman, a truck driver, right? And then Charles, he's where what you call MOT used to be at. That's what it was. And then when I figure out the whole string, I said, oh, so that's what they're really on. Then you got the same guys, like you said, they want to be stuck in the gynocracy thing at the end of it, because I fell asleep on half of it after we got done talking about politics. I'm like, wow.
The reality of it is that then there's platforms like this who basically go and just put the information out here so that people can have it, right?
Yeah.
So no fucking excuses.
None.
I mean, that's why I'm like, dude, do we have to? Bro, I swear to God, it's like my skin fucking crawls when it's, because it's like, all right, so I hear all that, and then I'm like, wow, we're over 700 videos, been there for about 3 years. Politics, economics, crypto, tech, Jesus Christ. Wow. People act like this goddamn channel doesn't exist. Others like it, right? See, ignorance is no excuse, right? Ignorance is no excuse, dude. Like, if you're ignorant, if you are aware that there's a channel that talks about certain subject matters, but you don't bother to check it out, that's on you. Because more than likely, they probably talked about some shit that you probably could have benefited from. Okay, but I guess the other conversations are more beneficial. Which one? Which is which? I mean, are you gonna? And that's not even worthy of debate. The question that I'm asking, that question is not even worthy of a 5-minute soliloquy. It's very simple. What kind of conversations are ultimately more beneficial to you? Ones that can ultimately put more money in your pocket, give you a new skill or gynocracy?
I say more money in your pocket.
Well, okay. So
yeah,
so
that's
then
the best
so
solution
so
right there.
that would sound like the sensible thing to say, right?
Yeah.
Is that reflective in that manosphere over there?
No, they don't talk about it.
Many of those men don't want the issues to be resolved. They don't.
That's common over there. Yeah.
Right. So then here's what happens. That's when I bid you the fuck adieu.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
That happened coming up about 3 years ago. When this happened over here, this channel. So that realization happened. It occurred some close to 3 years ago when this channel was formed. That back then it was like, oh, you got oh, okay, I see what you guys can do. And guess what? 3 years later, same shit.
Yeah, I mean,
now there's going to be some things that we'll be rolling out with the Brain Trust here in the next month or two, and then we got the business summits coming in April and May. But yeah, we'll see what's going on in Manosphere Lesser.
Yeah, I mean, like when we've had a brother, man, you know, unfortunately, man, you know, he took himself out in the space recently. You know, I was on a panel recently, you know, brother, you know, broke down, started crying, man, talking about his experiences, you know, with his, you know, kid's mother, man, and, you know, not being able to see his kid, man, and, you know, talking about,
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, talking about how, you know, he had to call of suicide hotline.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why I get so pissed at these dudes. Because I'm like,
yeah,
there are men out here who are really dealing with some things internally. And, you know, I'm constantly putting out a lot of shit that is psychologically based, because one of the things that I want a lot of men to realize is like, yo, man, you normal, man. You know what I'm saying? You're a human. You know what I'm saying? What you going through, man, you know, some of us have had similar, sometimes even worse experiences. And we got through that shit. So if we can get through it, you can get through it too. But it doesn't help these men to constantly kill them in a rage, to constantly be in a state of rage. There's nothing wrong with being red pilled and in that rage for a moment because you're waking up. You know what I'm saying? You're waking up. It's a natural thing. But when you got people that's constantly feeding that rage and not allowing that person to calm down and say, here's some things that you need to start looking at that can help you so you can go out here and be productive. Because I really believe that when men are truly productive, man, like their mind is clear. Like their mind is sharp. Like you're very healthy, man, because you're actually self-actualizing your purpose. But how can you even get to a purpose when you're so distracted by your rage? You can't see anything else. And that's what some of these dudes in these spaces, man, you know, really are doing. They're keeping men in a rage because it helps them make money. You know what I'm saying? And they do it under the guise that, well, you know, we're trying to let these women, you know, let these men know what's going on. Like, I'm like, that sounds great, but that's not what you're doing. I know bullshit when I see it.
Yeah, that's what Rocky talked about. Yeah,
they're pushing that shit, but they're hiding behind the gynocracy. When the reality is
a facade. Yeah.
I'm like, look, if you build your own damn city, you get to dictate who comes up in there. You get to set up the court. You get to set up the police force. You get to set up city council, the school board. You get to do all that shit. Wow. And you get to dictate what it's going to be. If Akon can do it, we can do it.
I'll tell you this. Charles said the same thing to MOT. He didn't like that about that solution. But he said, hell, we have the country in our hands, you know, because the white man is, you know, losing his shit. He's upset because he thought that the world was his. And then the rest of the world look at him like, no, you don't. and the stuff that the brain trust talk about, it's very accurate what's going on, because the world is changing. You know, everybody's into tech, except for certain of our group. Our other counterparts said they don't want to deal with it, but I said, okay, I'm gonna go over here and learn something. And then he said the same thing to MOT, like how to, solutions. That's where the whole argument started. And on our channel, it was needed at first, and then I knew where they stand, and to me, they should just killed around 5 hours.
Yeah,
And it was hard though. It was hard for Art. I think he was trying to see something, and I don't blame him. I mean, salute him for that, live stream, because I learned a lot about certain individuals in that time frame. I was like, okay, I know where they stand.
Well, speaking of which, man, I'm gonna kind of cut this one short. My little one's like, all right, Dad, it's been long enough. So, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just hang out with my shorty for the rest of the evening. This Naima, I guess she was just.
Did you sing something?
Naima, no, I think she might have just listened in, or she might have just fell asleep.
Naima, stop thirst trapping, girl.
she might have fell asleep, man.
Oh man.
Naima has a habit of doing that. She'll fall asleep.
I didn't know that.
Panels.
Wow. Okay.
That's a joke, dude. No, she doesn't fall asleep on panels. She hardly ever gets on panels, man. So I'm honored that she actually got on this panel. I feel special. I'm trying to get her to unmute her. Naima, you make me feel special. You joined the panel. She still won't unmute. Either that or she's asleep. Who knows? All right. Well, yeah. Hey, man, I appreciate you guys for rolling up, dude. This is just kind of one
anytime.
Yeah. Open joints or what have you. We're just kind of shooting the shit for a little while. But tomorrow, we're gonna talk whips. We're gonna talk whips, man. We're gonna talk whips and cars and all that good stuff. And
like sim racing.
I don't know, man. I can't get the streaming shit to work right.
Oh, okay.
Every time I try it, it always.
What? A tech guy can't get the streaming to work?
No, I keep telling people I suck at streaming. I might come off as arrogant. Yeah, I'll freely admit when I suck at something. I'll totally tell you when I suck at some shit. Like, dude, I'm terrible at that.
Oh, I'm gonna throw a shot. How many game dudes say they suck at getting women? I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I don't know. I never claim that type of stuff. I'll take ownership of sucking at streaming, though. But hey, all right, you guys. Well, you guys have a good evening. Hit the like button or not, but hopefully you do. And we'll be back tomorrow. Y'all have a good evening. Peace.
Peace.
All right, always a pleasure, man. Peace.